Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and we are in for one hell of a good night as Eric Mitchell, experiencer and UFO advocate, is here to talk about the Soul Conference and the experiences that surround them. We are in for a great show. I hope you're all going to enjoy it as we kick off roll call right now with, let's see, who do we have here? I don't know. This email is not coming up. Oh, here we go. Race fan in the gold medal position. SJ with a silver. Tim Mothman and his goatee with a bronze medal tonight. Robert Lamoth. Jimmy J. Jordan Gonzalez is here. Jimmy J. will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Chris 716, thanks for coming on in. Road Flare. Michael Morris, our attorney at large. Frankie B. Mel WD40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show, because when the aliens are around, you always want to be lubed up just so everything goes nice and smooth. Yeah, I went there. Okay, moving on here. We got Lightwalkers, Jedi, Mama Catherine. I love you, my dear. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful night. Let's continue on here and say hi to Jedi and little Timmy James. How you doing, buddy? I know he's waving back. That's the funny part. Scrolling on down. Let's see here. Who do we got? We have up next, scrolling on down. Oh, there's Eric in the chat room, Experiencer 1111. There you go. We got him by phone tonight, by the way. We got him by phone. Just another guy named Harry. It's been a while. Good to have you here. And Necessary Dialogue, number 27 in your program, starting at right wing from Stockholm, Sweden. Lars Jansson. Walter Kochabinski, how you doing? Laura Lobbs, nice to see you. Thomas Rock, good to have you back. So we continue on with roll call. There's purple-haired Pixie Lara. We love her around here. Joey Glow, how you doing? And Noble Patrick. Hillbilly Herb, good to see you both. Ms. Mary. Jonathan Sims is here. Jonathan Sims will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Grifter Lee, good to see you. And Deidre. Digger Dog. Jennifer Beveridge, nice to have you all here. Pam Harris, nice to have you here. As we continue on with our roll call, J Truth Seeker. Joanne, nice to see you guys. Flat 6, W. David Page, thank you for joining us tonight. Hi there, Latchkey. Our resident hippie Deidre from Vancouver Island. Doesn't matter what the weather is, she'll be wearing her Birkenstocks, because that's what she does. Contrary One, how you doing? Carol Mario, thanks for coming on in. Millennium, my man, good to see you. Kimberly Burgess, thanks for coming on in. As we continue on with roll call, Brian Brito, thank you for joining us tonight. Paul Demon, thank you for coming on in. And Kitty Cattywhack, good to see you. Scrolling on down, Super Knower. And Top Prad, welcome to SOR Chat. Thanks for joining us. And who else is here? Let's take a look. Space, what's happening? Luscious Jules, nice to see you. Rock and Rory, nice to have you back. And Paisley Parker, thank you for coming on in. Oh, she had her first snow in Boston. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? And scrolling down, we are caught up there. Let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. UFO experiencer, alien experiencer, Eric Mitchell is our guest. We're going to have a great time with him tonight. I know you are too. So we're going to continue on with our roll call on the YouTube side as we say hello to Derek, the Woo Poo, and Queen Peachy Keen. Thanks for coming on in. Reminder to all of you, the super chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis as well. Yes, as well. You can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. And you can get our new Friends Do Not Let Friends UAP t-shirts. They're on sale right now. Thank you. My hair is looking good tonight. Jules, thank you for pointing that out. I hope you all have a good night. Hi there, Human Carl. We love you. Thank you for being a great veteran of the United States Air Force. We love our veterans around here. Throw those horns up, everyone. Let's rock. Of Central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair at our headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out the bumblefoot, read the news, wired, check out our site as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We're going to have an awesome show on UFOs and ET contact tonight. Our guest is Eric Mitchell. We will get to him momentarily. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will join us. You know what? We may keep Eric through the 3 hours. We're going to bring on Tim James, our UFO reporter, as well. And if we don't keep Eric, we may or may not do the Dave 101. It's all up in the air because when Eric is on the show, there is no timeline. Except for commercials, because that's what we have to do around here. No timeline, but commercials. So let's get right to it. In 2013, Eric Mitchell was just a simple dude living in the South, struggling as a single father. Having never believed in the UFO phenomena, Eric woke up one morning to find a craft right outside of his house in his yard. He walked out and was face to face with a UFO. Since that morning, many strange things have happened to him. As an investigator into his own experiences, Eric has recorded all of his data. Eric now spends most of his time working with experiencers who are dealing with the trauma and the unknown of what truly happened to them. Eric Mitchell, my good friend, it's great to have you back on Spaced Out Radio. How you doing?
It's great to hear your voice, my old friend. It's been too long.
It really has been, my friend. Take us back for our audience members who may not know your story. Let's go back to 2013. What happened there?
Yeah, well, as you said, I didn't believe in the subject. I woke up around 4 o'clock in the morning and I was standing outside of my apartment. I had no idea how I got there. I was confused. My left shoulder was facing my front door and my right shoulder was facing the dead-end street. You know, it was just a short street. And here's this 40-foot in diameter orange glowing sphere. It looked like a miniature sun. It rippled like water. And it made no sound, you know, and it was just off the, just above the street. So I remember my my eyebrows kind of squeezing together, thinking, what the hell am I looking at, but I didn't think UFO, of course, because in my mind, I never looked into the subject. I thought UFO people were crazy. I just grew up being told that way. So I never thought it was or I didn't think it was a UFO. To me, a UFO was like a 1950s film with a saucer hanging from a string or something. That's what a UFO is. So I had no idea what I was looking at. And I stared at it for about 20 minutes, so confused. And I finally decided it's an optical illusion, and I'll just wait for the sun to come up, and I'll be able to laugh at myself. Light bouncing off a trash can that did this or did that. I mean, I had no way of putting that together in my head. I really didn't. But by the time the sun came up, it was gone. So I walked in the street. I looked in the grass. I couldn't find any reasonable explanation of what that was, and it bothered me all day at work. I was quiet all day just thinking, and I got home. I did homework with the kids. We did a Pixar film. At 9:30 at night, I go out for a smoke outside my one-story apartment, and I'm kind of pacing back and forth, just looking at that spot, thinking, what? I mean, was it ball lightning? I mean, I remember reading about that in a science magazine at the dentist office. That must be it, right? So just as I finished my smoke, this thing slowly turned on, like a light bulb in slow motion. It went from nothing to 40 feet in diameter. I stared at it. It completely went out very slowly. And then it started to move about 2 or 3 miles an hour. And it was flashing on and off very slow. And it kind of did a horseshoe shape around me as I was turning. It's almost like it was stalking me. And I really couldn't run. I didn't know what was going on. And this thing ended up right above my head, maybe 12, 15 feet above my one-story apartment, above my door. And there was no heat. It wasn't cold. There was no sound. I was completely confused. And all of a sudden it flashed twice really fast this time and shot off like a bullet, as fast as a bullet off, to my right. And I could barely catch my eye with that thing. It went so fast. So the very next day I came home. My car was overheating. My neighbor, Dan, he actually did 2 terms on Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And he was home to be with his wife, Laura. And we were working on my car. He was going inside to go eat, and I felt a vibration on the top of my head. It knocked me to the ground. It's unbelievable how strong the vibration was. The only reason why I knew I was throwing up is because my throat would open and then close, and it was just overpowering. I thought I was being killed, but I pushed myself off the ground, feeling like a magnet being pushed down and to left, to right from something above me. So I pushed myself off the ground. I looked up, and here was this object right above my head. It flashed twice and took off the opposite way it did the night before. So that was the very beginning.
At what point did you realize that something strange was happening to you, that this wasn't normal ball lightning or any type of earthly phenomena?
I fought it every step of the way. I wanted to think I had some sort of psychological problem. I thought maybe I had a brain tumor. I didn't want to believe this stuff was real. I just couldn't fathom losing my worldview. 34 years just out the tubes. I had to really take a long time to accept that this was going on, and I didn't have time to accept this was going on. I mean, this thing was coming back nightly. Whatever happened to my head gave me, let's use a placeholder word, savant syndrome, where I talked really slow. I'm from the South. deep Southern accent, not a very high IQ, not a very big vocabulary. I liked football, I liked fishing. Just simple. So it was very difficult for me to keep up with my own brain at that point. Savant syndrome is a very difficult thing to grow into, and you just want to get out of your own mind. It's moving too fast. You crave a lot of information, bothers your sleep if you get any at all. And, it wasn't long before my neighbors noticed this thing. I live in a small Arkansas town, so people were talking all over town about it. So naturally, every night there'd be a long line of cars going around my block and down the street of people that wanted to see it. And that's when it got really bad. I was able to contact investigator Barry Gaunt from Kentucky State MUFON. He got me in touch with Arkansas and Tennessee, and they formed a team from there to come down and investigate. My electronics were going crazy as they were trying to film witnesses and stuff like that. Their cameras that they brought were draining and shutting off. My TV would turn on and off. My light bulbs would flicker. It was a living nightmare in the very beginning, for sure. But thankfully, I had my lead investigator, Barry Gaunt, not just to take my information, but to be there as a confidant, as a friend, to help me emotionally through what I was going through. And I wouldn't have made it without him.
At what point did you realize that this was going to be life-consuming, that you had to start dedicating time to studying this phenomena?
Oh, gosh, that's hard to answer, but I did. I bought a 38. I hope I'm answering your question right. It's cutting out a little bit, but I went to the store. I bought a 38. I bought a pack of bullets. I waited till the kids went to sleep. I went out into my Cadillac because I didn't want them to find my body in the house. I thought maybe it's best I'd go out to my car, and I didn't reach out to anyone. I didn't tell anyone I was going to do it. I didn't want someone to stop me. And we call him Bear, my lead investigator, Barry Gaunt, and he called right before I pulled the trigger. And he didn't know. I didn't tell him, but we spoke for about 4 hours, and I lost it. I just started crying. I said, how could I ever repay you for being here for myself and my kids? And he said, well, when you're ready, I want you to get out of this poor little me area and move on to helping people like yourself. So I began immediately looking for people like me and helping them through the process that I was going through in real time until I got good at it, and I started working for or with Starborn Support, and eventually several other support groups all over the world, not just America, but in the Philippines, archipelagos, Southeast Asia, 127 different countries I think I'm at with doing that. You'd think I'd have a whole team of people, but it's just been me.
You've taken on a giant responsibility in trying to help people learn about their own contact, whether it's been good, whether it's been negative. That is a large task to take on. Why is it important for you to do that?
Well, it's important because if anybody suffered like me, if there's anybody on the planet that had to go through that, I've been through some trauma in my life. This, takes any trauma and makes it look small. It's a lot more drastic than I might put out there. It's a lot to explain, but there is a process that's not in the confines of modern psychology that we experiencers go through. I remember in 2013, I was looking for help, and I actually, sent an email to a Dr. Gary Nolan at Stanford University. He looked like someone that could really help. And I sent some emails about what was going on with my brain. I asked if I had a tumor. I showed my concerns. I probably looked insane at that point because I never had panic attacks before, so I didn't know how to manage these panic attacks. But it was short lived. I got a hold of myself, but I hopefully helped a little bit in that area. A couple of years after that, I got with a neurologist at Harvard University, and I finally sent him Gary Nolan's email over there. That way they can meet and offer Gary Nolan help when it comes to these studies. And so it actually went really well. They hit it off, and they've been working together. So when, Dr. Gary Nolan talks publicly about his, Harvard colleagues, those are the people that I've been involved with.
When did the universities start coming to you?
Well, I had someone call me in 2014. This man was freaked out, and he should have been. He was in a bit of a pickle. His name was Ray Hernandez, and he's a tax attorney in Florida. And I recognized the stage that he was in. I lovingly call it mashed potato mountain syndrome, where his obsession was taking him away from his job, his wife, his children, without his knowledge. And that can easily happen. It happens in a lot of families with experiencers. We kind of drift off and not even realize we're doing it because we're looking for answers. We need to find that. And we live a duality, a cognitive dissonance and a duality at the same time. You are now a chameleon that has to fit in because no one can fit into you. And you become a professional at that. But before you learn all this, you are completely immersed in one side of your life, and you've got to get a hold of that duality and work both sides so you can stabilize your life around you. And that's where he was at. So we spent some time together. He bounced back really well, and really took the reins on this one. And so we got a hold of Dr. Edgar Mitchell, the sixth man on the moon, Apollo 14. And we did a bit of a round table and decided we needed to bring this away from ufology and bring it into academics. So the free organization was born. And Dr. Mitchell and Hernandez both went after, the goal was 20 PhDs initially, and I went after as many experiencers as I could because we're shy creatures. We don't want to really talk about what goes on with this, but so I had a lot of people that already trusted me, and I've been there for a lot of people, and when I asked them, they had a resounding yes instead of a maybe or I'm scared. What if the government, blah, blah, blah. So it was easier for me to conduct that part of it. And so I didn't want to join in an organization, but I definitely was a consultant for the whole thing. And once the data rolled in, it was still really difficult to deliver that data to PhDs. And, it was like, really difficult. I'd get get laughed at. I'd get the phone slammed in my face, but I wasn't going to give up. And here we are, years later, where universities are literally sending emails to each other, in secret and private. And I get to see a lot of them. University of Ohio, University of Northern Montana Tech, Harvard, Stanford, Princeton now. They're talking about doing a UFO class in their college, in their prestigious university, and the list goes on. So, I understand that an important man behind a podium might be disclosure for a lot of people's zeitgeist, but my personal belief is first and foremost to alert PhDs, start the argument, not the conversation, get these people really heated, really talking, and really able to look at the data. Because once you look at the data, the ridicule factor kind of just dies off really quick.
Did I ever tell you, Eric, that I took the free experiencers test?
I am so sorry, Dave, you're cutting out.
I said, did I ever tell you that I took the free experiencers test?
No, I didn't know that.
I did.
That's awesome, man.
And I passed with flying colors that I have aliens.
Yeah, there were some questions in there that I really didn't agree with. I didn't have total control. There are some questions I would have wanted to remove and kind of gauge it more toward the quintessential experiencer instead of trying to questionnaire an average person. But Edgar and Ray, they had what they had to go on, so they did the best job that they could, and it was great because it kind of opened some doors. There was a lot of legwork after that, but it opened a lot of doors. It completely broke my heart when Edgar passed away. He was a bit of a mentor, confidant, and friend for quite some time, and so that was a bit of a heartbreak. I hear Ray. I haven't spoken to Ray for a while, but he's looking into near-death studies, and from what I hear, he's actually doing a great job. I've been meaning to catch up with him and see what kind of data he's getting from there.
Continuing on with the UFO story, you have been somebody who doesn't like publicity. You're somebody who will help everybody who asks, but you just don't like the publicity. You don't do a lot of interviews. Why is that?
Well, I grew up a simple guy, and some of my case leaked out, some pictures, videos, witness statements, and stuff like that to ufology. So I was getting phone calls from people that assumed I knew who they were. I never knew. As soon as I heard the word ufology, I swear to God, Dave, I literally imagined in my head taking some online classes. I had no idea there was this particular type of academicology. Gosh, I should have learned about this a long time ago. But it turns out there's no classes you take, and so they wanted me to get on stage and speak and do radio. And I slowly started to realize I went from a human being to some sort of commodity. And that really bothered my my constitution, who I am. What's it matter? I mean, if that many people love you, but they really don't, it becomes a false sense of self. And, I got into doing radio because I was poking the hornet's nest, and my lead investigator that has been doing this for 50 years at least told me, Eric, I need you to do radio. You're getting yourself into a lot of trouble, and you don't know what you're getting into. So I really had to trust him a lot. I was scared to do radio. I couldn't public speak in front of my class, it went that way for a while. Almost everything I've done on stage or on the internet is completely wiped out now. So I've got a bit of a break. But I just I don't like the social engineering of you must be popular to be, an effective experiencer and going at this. What you need to do is find every leak you can in every canoe that you can find and stand back and watch them sink. I don't need to make a victory round in front of other people. I prefer the comfort of my kitten and my house in the middle of the woods and in front of a gorgeous lake.
Yeah. Hey, man, I got that, and you still get the aliens there, too. Let me tell you. It's definitely something that you can have the best of both worlds if you're into extraterrestrials living out in the wilderness.
That's the truth. That is the truth. But yeah, I actually by happenstance brought my daughter to Maine. I wanted to get away from home. Not only did I have a UFO problem, but I had a people problem. And it was getting really bad. If you know anything about the South, it's the Bible Belt. People were saying I was calling the devil down from the sky. People were scared of me. I was going through a neurological change. So I was literally asking my friends why they were talking so slow. And they were wondering why I was talking so fast. It really got confusing, and it was a good excuse for me to leave.
Eric, hold that thought. We're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Eric Mitchell is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. When we return, he just got back from the Seoul Conference. What did he learn there? Next on Spaced Out Radio. All right, Eric, we're clear. Remember, our YouTube audience and podcast audience can hear us. Can you hear me okay, Eric?
Not really well, man. It's kind of cutting in and out, so I'm having to use my brain to piece together.
Okay, let's try something different. Can you hear me better now?
I think so. Let's talk a little more.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, it's cutting out a lot less.
Okay. All right, you're doing great on this end, bud. For our YouTube audience, we tried getting Eric onto StreamYard tonight, but his signal at his house wasn't working very well, so we agreed that we would do the show this way. I see a lot of first-timers in our chat room tonight, potentially listening in as well. If you've never heard our show before, hello, welcome. Don't forget to hit subscribe, ring that bell. And this is one of the only shows that Eric will come on. That's not my words, that's his words. And he knows that he gets great respect when he's here, number one. But number two, we are a live radio show, which is why we take commercial breaks at the top and bottom of the hour. We are not just your regular UFO podcast. We have to time everything out to our radio stations. So that's what we are doing. So just so you know what's going on, wondering why the hell is this guy rambling and why isn't Eric talking right now? That's the reason why. So I just wanted to let all of you know, and thank you all for coming. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up as well. Make sure you like this show, and then afterwards, make sure you go and leave a comment after the show. There, I can finally breathe again. Thanks again for doing this, Eric.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. And like you said, I don't like to do radio much anymore, but you're an old good friend, and I'd love to catch up with you anyway. And gosh, it's been a heck of a journey.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I'm going to start working on a different project next year outside of the radio show. And I don't know what the hell's going to happen, but it's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, our good friend Courtney, she actually offered up 27 acres in Montana, about 20 minutes from the local airport, for us to do, what we used to do up in Maine, which is experiencers meet, where we all fly out and get on a large piece of property and all spend time together. And it's surprising who shows up, but I think this is we're planning for the end of the summer, but I think this is going to be by far the biggest one in history. So that's my invitation for you to come, my friend.
Oh, dude, just let me know the dates and I'll try and get down there. That's for sure. That's
absolutely. It's a lot to organize, but we are definitely going to get it done.
Yeah. When are you looking? Next summer?
I'm sorry.
When are you looking? Next summer?
Yeah, by summer, by the end of summer. We don't want it to be too hot or too cold. In Montana's climate, it will be mostly a tent situation. There's one house on the property and a pretty large barn, but I have access to over 70,000 experiencers, so I think there's going to be quite a few that's going to show up. I already know some, not to mention names, but very well-known news outlets that will cover it. So, if experiencers are still not accepted because of social engineering, maybe we should show the world that we actually do. I've done some slip ups. I've done some things that I probably shouldn't do in public forums. But I have, and my case isn't released yet. It's not out there yet. All the data, from 12 years, that's a lot to go through. It's been out in the open for me. Chris Bledsoe and I have some of the same initial investigators. I'm not fond of the popular route, but I am fond of, sure, this suffering.
Okay, hold on right there. Hold on right there, Eric. We're coming back.
I'm sorry, Dave, you cut out.
Here comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us as we continue on with our conversation of experience with Eric Mitchell. Reminder to all of you that if you miss portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/spaced out radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Experiencer Eric Mitchell is with us tonight, and we are going to get into one of the most secretive conversations that is out there, the Soul Foundation. The Soul Foundation is very public, namely put together by Stanford professor Gary Nolan, but it's an invite-only conference. You can go hang out, which is what Eric, Nicole Sakic, Courtney Marcassani did. And Eric, thank you for joining us. Let's learn about this.
Yeah, my gosh, I could almost feel my my good friend. We do a little YouTube thing every now and again on Experiencer 1111, and my good friend Heidi and I kind of sit down and have conversation. So I could almost feel her laughing at this point. But when you're asked to tell the truth, we'll do the truth. So gosh, this is going to be hard for people to take in. But I had an incident with a gentleman named Dr. Michael P. Masters, I believe October of 2022. I went to the UFO Congress in Phoenix, or near Phoenix, and I just got back from Skinwalker Ranch, so my brain was, oh my gosh. I don't have any words for that, but that's a very special place. So we drive in. I call Heidi, told her, look, we're here. I'm going to book a room. Where are you? I want to see you. This was the first time, that we're ever going to meet in person. For years, we just talked on the phone. So my plan was to go up to the VIP room, give her a big hug, and try to find Travis. Travis and I lived together up in Mechanic Falls, Maine, for about 8 months. He was actually dating my roommate, Audrey Hewins, and she was the founder of Starborn Support. So we literally lived together. He was knocked down by a UAP. So was I. He heard about me. We had a lot in common, and long story, but we spent a lot of time together. So I walk into this VIP room, and I'm kind of used to it now. It took a long time for me to try to understand my own brain because it was going through a lot of changes, and it went on hyperdrive. Your executive function takes a back seat, and your experiencer function takes the front seat, and you enter into a trance-like, dream-like, state. But you are mostly aware of what's going on. But the room kind of disappeared. I didn't even see Heidi. I just saw this man. I saw blue eyes, and I felt compelled empathically and intuitively to approach this man and let him know that he does not need to quit. That was in his mind more than anything that I could possibly feel. So I approached him. I told him that, and I asked him if he would go out on the balcony so we can have a private discussion. I turned and looked at Heidi, because I want her to stop me from doing what I'm doing. And I turned around and she gives me this Jack Nicholson nod. Like, I'm supposed to be supervised here. And she's like encouraging me. It's just a bad friend to have sometimes, but, a really good one at the same time. So we go out onto the balcony, and there's way too much to explain about what happened, but it began to be, an audible conversation. I had to scoot in close for me to, really connect with him. And I could tell he was a little upset. And I asked him, you should just calm down a little bit. And he did. And at some point, Heidi kind of poked her head into our bubble, and it went nonverbal. It was an exchange of an awful lot of information. And so that kind of alerted a lot of PhDs. This man, Dr. Michael P. Masters, he's an anthropologist in Montana, and he actually started talking about it after about a year of ontological shock. He's an anthropologist. This stuff isn't real. So it really bugged him for a while. So PhDs all over the place started contacting me from all over the place. And do I need to stop, or do you have questions?
No, keep going, buddy. We're listening.
Okay. So, a lot of, there were some small aerospace companies. If you look into the past, this is a real thing that goes on still to this day. Adolf Hitler hired the Brill Society. NASA has Tim Taylor. There's probably, a quintessential experiencer in every part of aerospace, successful, Fortune 500 companies. And not a lot of people know that, but it's honestly the truth. It's a grab. And I don't like to feel like a commodity. I like to feel like a person. And I talked to Charles Crawford III from the University of Ohio. And I told him yes. I said, you know what? I will do my best to help you out. You have really good intentions. You're a great person. You're a good family man. You're brilliant. And I believe in you. I'll do what I can for you. And he said, Eric, I would really like some math. And I said, what? No, I don't know math. I have a very low education when it comes to math. I didn't go to college. I don't know advanced math. So he asked me to go into meditation and see what happens with that type of intention. And it surprised the hell out of me in a lot of ways, because behind my eyes, I saw S's and C's and equal marks and all these weird lines that weren't math. But when I came out of meditation, I just wrote them down, and I kind of wrestled with myself. I thought, I can't send this to someone that wants math. But I've also learned over time, if you are an experiencer, you're going to doubt yourself all the time. That's what you do when you're sane. It's when you don't question yourself is when you kind of go down insanity's road. So I sent it, and I said, I'm sorry if it doesn't make sense, but this is what I saw. I'm not used to doing this kind of thing. When I meditate, it's completely different material, or remote viewing is different material. Letters and numbers and things like that are on the different part of the brain. So it's hard to reach that. And so I sent it to him. He calls me back and he says, oh my God, this math is amazing. And I said, what do you mean? That was actual math? Are you kidding me? And he said, no, this is great. He said, I want to fly you out to the Seoul conference along with your friend Heidi from the Michael Michael Masters incident and showed this math to some of the smartest people in the world. And I thought, well, okay, we'll go out there. So I reached out to a lot of people I already know at Soul and say, hey, put me in for an invitation. Also, my friend Heidi, Mr. Crawford, soon to be Dr. Crawford, he's already got an invitation. So I actually got denied over 10 times for the Soul Conference. Mind you, the sound engineer is a good friend of mine. A lot of the PhDs are good friends of mine. Why am I getting denied? It's kind of ridiculous, but we fly out anyway. Nice hotel, tons of experiencers show up to my hotel, which was great. One of which was patient 15. I was lined up to be patient 18 in Dr. Roger Lear's study. But 2 weeks before we met at the Dolores Cannon Conference, Dr. Roger Lear passed away. So even though I didn't have the surgery, I'm still part of the family. And patient 15 is Dr. Roger Lear's assistant, Dr. Steve Colburn. Now, he's the one that scanned me before. He found the blue dye, the infamous blue dye, and the infamous green dye on my body, and found 3 implants in my body. The one they wanted was in my neck, and it was broadcasting, I believe, 1.6 megahertz. And so it was nice to have a lot of experiencers show up to the hotel. They drove in, from, so long just to hang out. So that was great. It warmed my heart. But I was still waiting, for my invitation to Soul. So me and Heidi can go in there and do our thing. Dr. Crawford, soon to be Dr. Crawford, electro engineer, had printed out a bunch of copies of this math and wanted to pass it around. He needed help deciphering this mathematics. So that was pretty cool. But we kind of had to do the whole experiencer thing. I was tired of waiting, and I was tired of getting turned down from our invitation. So we showed up to the conference. Our PhD friend, soon to be PhD friend, went ahead and went inside. I kind of gave up. I just went in there. I talked to the security guard. I kind of snuck a badge from behind my back, came out, gave one to Heidi. And, after talking to the security guard for a while, these are not the experiencers you're looking for, kind of thing. The security was tight, man. They were really tight. But I was able to squeeze her through as well. So we kind of snuck into the Soul Conference.
When you were at the Soul Conference this year, for people who may not know what it's about, why is it kept on such a private level?
Well, from what I've seen, what I've been privy to, is back in 1952, there was a lot of talk about psi, remote viewing, things of that nature. And experiencer studies began with the DOD and PhDs. So that went on from 52 to 1957, where they discovered quite a bit of empathic, intuitive, synchronicity and non-locality properties within people like myself. The study stopped in 1957, and a large amount of counterintelligence were deployed upon ufology to really influence ufology to think that the average person is not a good observer, therefore experiencers don't exist. A new study opened with the original neurologist in 62 and ended in 1967. Since the new Teslas came out, Dr. Gary Nolan has access to one, and other universities have one. Instead of seeing brain scarring within the motor function because it just looks white, now they can Tesla 4 high contrast look at the scarring, and it's not scarring. It's white because it's white hot. It contains its own 100 billion neurons. That's why I refer to it as the experiencer brain. Every brain basically has its own 100 billion neurons, but you're talking about a tiny portion of the brain now that has its own 100 billion neurons, aka the antenna, or now called, the brain within the brain. And that's what Harvard's doing now. They're mapping out the quintessential experiencer brain using an AI system so they can move much faster. And it should take about a year to really look at all this stuff within this brain. So out of all the experiencers that were put under MRIs, it was there. And with the cohort group, the people that did not have any experiencers their whole life, it showed nothing. 50,000 neurons, just a basic motor function. I don't want to stub my toe. I don't want to fall down, just basic. But with ours, there's a random nucleotide polymorphism within our epigenetic DNA. And if it switches on, now it's only certain families that have this, but it does follow family lines. Once it switches on, it starts to feed this motor function a lot of material so it can grow. And once it reaches full capacity of 100 billion neurons, it's still getting pumped in. So what happens? It reaches out with empathy, step 1. Step 2 is intuitive ability. Step 3 is synchronicity and coincidence. Very important, step 3. And step 4 is non-locality. So once you achieve all 4 steps, which there's a lot to unpack in all 4 steps, but we needed categories, that's when you reach the point of what some people call super experiencer, but I'll just say the quintessential experiencer because I prefer the term. I don't feel super at all. I'm extremely different, but it is what it is, and so it just seems that I think Soul kind of put on the old hat of ufology to try to model that. And it's so funny that everyone there knows, but no one dares to talk about it. So they're just not there yet. They don't want ridicule from the public either, but I trust in time they're definitely going to come around because they already have the data.
If they have all the data and they have some sort of understanding of what is going on, why do you think that they are holding back from not only the scientific community, but the world? Most of these scientists already have government contracts. Why do you think they are holding back and keeping it from the public?
Well, I hate to say it, but my first response is emotional. I speak on a daily basis with people that are falling apart, decent people, empathic people that feel so much more than most of us do. And they're breaking down every single day and all over the world, all over the world. And it frustrates me. And I try to be numb, and just kind of let it roll off my back and get to business. But it does bother me. I'm not going to lie to people about that. It bothers the hell out of me. But I guess to see from their standpoint, there might be an awful lot of social engineering to keep us a secret as well, because it's useful to the DOD still. Admission of guilt by the DOD, they're not going to do that. But at the same time, the embarrassment of earning that many PhDs and to be one that stands out there to, for ridicule. I mean, that's a really terrible thing. And that's one thing I applaud Dr. Michael P. Masters for, because he literally said, if I don't talk about this publicly, I'm literally a hypocrite. And that's the voice of a true scientist. When you witness this and you gather data or any inkling that there's actually something human suffering going on, then say something, instead of following professionality that someone wants to skew for personal gain.
We actually have Dr. Michael Masters coming on this show next week to talk about his experiences and what he's learned over the last time. And we will get into that incident with you and him in the next hour. But for Soul, what did you learn about Soul that you would like the audience to understand?
Well, I really enjoy Avi Loeb, so I did actually go in there and sit down and listen to his presentation. His humble words always inspire me. I think that man is really onto something. But I really did miss all the talks. I didn't know that many people would approach me and want to have private conversations. That was the flip side of the coin. You know, they don't want to throw this out here publicly, but in a private setting with security at every door, these PhDs wanted to sit down and have conversations. So there's definitely hope there. But I think we have a long way to go with academics, you know, and I think, you know, with experiencers, after, over 10 years of PhD work, I think I need to just full-time it with experiencers, do more gatherings, make sure that we show up to, conferences that pertain about us and really feed the knowledge out there. My main goal is to end this human suffering. You know, I just see it every day, and it breaks my heart every time because I've been through it. I know what it's like. And, if I can take my dying breath by changing that on this little blue rock, that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I do nothing else. I don't watch football. I don't watch television. I don't enjoy going off and doing anything. It's 100% all the time. And if I can do something like that with my life, I would feel like, I really achieved something on this short ride around the sun.
You met some incredible people while you were there and had some interesting conversations while hanging out with two of our favorites, Nicole Sakic and Courtney Marcassani. With 3 minutes to go, who is the most impactful conversation that you had?
The most impactful conversation I had? Oh my gosh. Nicole was great. Oh my gosh, there's so many names flowing through my head. I'm just blinking really fast, No, there was a anthropologist colleague that actually worked with Dr. Michael Masters, and his anthropology reaches into multicultural situations, which is fascinating to me because I work with multicultural people all over the world. So I get to FaceTime their families, see what they're eating, learn their cultures. So it's kind of like, traveling the world by phone, learning these families and these people and their traditions. And that's fascinating to me, so I was fascinating to him at the same time. And I was able to show him a few things about myself that he was very intrigued by as well. So yet again, another anthropologist, being a strange human, they kind of like to check you out. But yeah, I mean, to backstep a little bit back at the hotel with Dr. Steve Colburn, you could look at Experiencer 11. I hate to plug my channel because I'm not trying to be popular. We just sit down and try to help the best we can and have conversations in me and Heidi's YouTube channel. But we did interview Dr. Steve Colburn, and he definitely, recognized this under a UV or a black light. You're going to see blue dye or green dye, and he kind of breaks down the chemical and biological substance that is left behind during an instance. And he scanned everybody in the room. There was nothing, strange on anybody in the room. They were all experiencers. Shout out to, Barbara Jean Lindsay, world-renowned psychic. She was there, love her to death. And I thought, well, there's nothing on me. I haven't had anything go on for a little bit. And he checked my legs, my abdomen, all that stuff, and I was fine until he brought it up to my face. And once he put that on my face, everybody in the room changed. They went from smiling and happy to, oh my God. So they all started taking pictures of my face. And I went, what? What's going on? Why are you guys acting like this? And they were showing me the pictures, and my face was covered in a blue biological substance.
Oh, weird.
And that kind of mortified me. I still struggle, guys. I mean, I don't think I'll ever beat this, but How could you possibly think that something like that happened to you? But it does. And it's upsetting, you know?
Yeah.
We've got to face things.
Eric, I'm going to get you to hold on right there as we go to break here at the top of the hour. We have our good friend Eric Mitchell here. Was at Seoul a couple of weeks ago. He had an experience with Dr. Michael P. Masters. We're going to learn about that here momentarily right after this break on the Mighty SOR. The experiencers, the important part that's missing in ufology. We'll be right back with Eric Mitchell right after this. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. Okay, everybody, we're going to just take a quick break here for a couple of minutes of disappear, and we'll be right back here. Hey, 509er, how you doing? Good to see you. Babylon Rose, thanks for coming on in. Angry Canadian? Yes, I'm an angry Canadian today, too. Very angry Canadian. We'll be right back. That's right. Okay, we're just walking back into studio here. One sec. Gonna get you back up here. Oh, for sure. For sure. You know, Bad Wolf 66, welcome to SOR chat. Ethanol, nice to see you. Who else jumped in here? Let's see here.
Yeah, if you see Experiencer 1111 in there, that's not me, that's Heidi.
Oh, that's Heidi? Okay. Hi, Heidi. How you doing? Mr. Cowley, good to have you back. All right. All right. We got 40 seconds left. Eric, thank you to Louis ×2, Richard, and Stacy for the amazing super chats. Really do appreciate the love and support. Carrie Iraq, welcome to SOR chat for the first time. Look at that. My first time in. Yeah, we're glad you're here. Don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. You can buy our stuff and actually wear it out in public proudly, including our brand new Friends Don't Allow Friends to UAP. Here we go. Here we go with the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Glad you are all with us as we have Eric Mitchell with us to talk about the experience of alien contact. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do you got for us, Clam? Gadzookery. Gadzookery is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Eric Mitchell is with us. He is an experiencer of the unknown, the supernatural, the extraterrestrial, and he is hanging on out with us tonight to talk about his experiences. Eric, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure, my friend. It's been too long. We got to catch up on the phone sometime. Great to hear your voice and your audience. I mean, it's just a great audience. But what direction you want to go, for this last part?
Well, I want to talk about your experience with Dr. Michael P. Masters, who's going to be a guest here on Tuesday. He's been a guest on this show many a time before, and we're big fans of his. But he never really came out as an experiencer, but when he had this episode with you, all of a sudden, he's much more a believer than just a scientific mind of this subject. What happened?
Well, I mean, ontological shock can last quite a long time. I mean, he's a scientist. He's a show me person. He's a data person. So with this this ontological shock, I think he spent about a year before he and I even messaged each other. And even that kind of bothered him. It put a little fear, confusion, and we still really haven't spoken. I mean, we spoke on my YouTube channel for about an hour, it was warm. It was okay. But he's been struggling with that a lot. I know he has, but I think here in the future, once things settle down, he and I will go grab that beer, and have a conversation about what happened that night. Maybe the neurological analytics of how that actually happened, and maybe bring a laptop or something like that where I can show him, what I can do with my brain, and audible just put it up there so he can take a look. He's a smart guy. He probably already has. But yeah, I mean, his wife seems to be more privy. She thanked me to that side of the fence, and now he is too. And I commend him. I would have never thought that he was a PhD. I didn't know who he was. So that kind of shocked me, and I would have never thought he would speak publicly about that. I mean, that's career suicide for a lot of PhDs. But on top of that, he got a promotion at work instead of being knocked back down. I've got a lot of his students that have called me, spoken in class about this. Sure.
Tell us about the incident that happened with you guys.
Well, sure. Like I said earlier, I just went up to meet Heidi. I got a hold of Travis because we hadn't seen each other in a while, and we didn't want to be kind of crowded in the hallway, so we agreed to have breakfast at like 5 o'clock the next morning when everybody was sleeping, so we can catch up. And I went into the room. I wanted to give Heidi a big hug. First physical meeting. We've been on the phone constantly for years, and the room kind of disappeared. The only thing there, and a lot of, you probably have a lot of experiencers listening to you, and even yourself. We go into the grocery store, and it's not just a man there or a woman there or a child there. We feel them. We feel their situation. Sometimes you can see their funeral in your mind's eye, or just all this information kind of flows through you. And you could deny it, or you could just embrace it, or whatever you want to do. But sometimes, every once in a while, you feel compelled to approach a person and tell them what you're feeling, give them advice, throw that flavor at them. And so that's kind of how it was with Mike. And it just went incredibly deep. And at some point it went nonverbal, and there was a whole lot of information exchange. And not only did it really affect Mike, it affected me. It affected Heidi. It was really strong. I honestly believe that he's got the brain anomaly, and he's fully capable of doing these things himself. So it's a long journey of trying to maybe getting there, accepting yourself, learning confidence about being different in a world that really doesn't accept different people, which is kind of strange. We live in America. It's a melting pot of different people, but this is something that people haven't accepted for a long time. Before people came here, there were Indians, and every single tribe would have that one spiritual, deeply connected person, the medicine man, where there'd be guidance. And that developed over thousands of years, where they would pick that one person. And I think that, we live in this hustle and bustle now, where it's all about money and entertainment and working overtime to pay for our distractions, that we have forgotten that, people are different. We don't have to run every child's mind through a conveyor belt to be the same, because none of us are the same. We can pretend that, and it becomes a play. But what for? Over money and finances and mortgages that won't matter after you end up in a nursing home. It just really doesn't make sense to me anymore. But it's really difficult to accept. It goes through many roads. You're gonna get beat up. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna scar. It's gonna make you lonely. It's gonna make family members and other people hate you. But that doesn't discount that you're not a beautiful thing, that you are different in such an amazing way. It's beyond the grasp of certain people that really can't handle that kind of thing. But once you do gain confidence and you learn how to be effective, like Dr. Gary Nolan says, these people aren't crazy. You should hire them for, to lead your Fortune 500 company. They can make snap, intuitive, empathic decisions without having to look at the data. or analyze the data. It pretty much covers all the bases when it comes to running something very complicated. But if we're not accepted into society and we don't exist, we're not going to be effective while we're here. But when we are effective, gosh, look what I've done. I never thought I would be able to make the accomplishments that I would make. I didn't even know how to spell PhD back then, but I learned to be able to make big moves with, small ideas, and it's really made a difference. So I feel like I'm doing my part as much as I can, and I welcome other people like me to do that as well. It's perfectly fine to live two lives, one where you're not accepted and one where you're very accepted. And I call that the duality, because we do live two lives. And the greatest thing I've seen is experiencer camps, where we don't have to pretend anymore for a week or two. And when we don't have to really feed that normal part of our life, we get to experience others that deal with the exact same things that we deal with every day. And it's the most freeing and most confident giving thing I've ever seen in my life.
Did you have some sort of telepathic communication with Michael?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I
what
don't.
Was that like?
I never. I've had inklings. I've had pretty strong things happen, but Mike was like a vacuum. Now, the studies I've done with my lead investigator, I go audible, and I just, you put a shirt mic in my ear or something like that, and I can go audible on a computer. It just sounds like vibrations and frequencies. It's the electromagnetic field that I'm manipulating to cause that. Now, experiencer studies, you can look at the MRI. The highest MRI you're going to find in a person is 30 hertz. But our baseline as experiencers are 30 hertz and above. It's a lot to talk about. But instead of, and I've done this a lot, but instead of resistance, which most people have, instead of confusion, instead of fear, instead of, so many things that happen at that point of contact, Mike was like a black hole. He sucked it all in. I mean, he was just, there was no fear. His curiosity overrode every bit of fear that he had, and he was immense in the whole thing. So I believe he has the brain anomaly. I believe it's very strong, and I'm still, to this day, I talk about his shock, but I still deal with mine.
Do you think that the message that you had telepathically with him was from the ETs above, or do you think it was from something different?
That's a hard one, my friend. It's very difficult. We get told things from books and YouTube channels, and we're always told that it's this and it's that. Mike's got a thesis that it might be future humans. That conversation academically, it belongs on the table. We can't take that off yet. But I'm glad for him to put that on there. I've really looked at that and find it a little bit, valuable to the conversation. But I don't know who these other people are. A lot of people have claims. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they're from. It's very hard to understand. We as humans, we're not as smart as them by far. Dave, on a personal note, I was on my motorcycle last year, okay? And I'm going down the street to pick up a pizza, and I see this little mole, and this is a good point, so I'll have to, really add detail, but I pulled over, and it had blood on it, and it looked like maybe a bird of prey had picked it up and dropped it. And it was only about 4 inches long. So I walked over to this tiny animal that was dying in the heat, 110 degrees. And It was a kitten. It was a little baby kitten. Its eyes were still closed. So I brought it home, totally lost out on a really great pizza, which she's going to pay for later. But I just made, air conditioning, made it comfortable, made her a bed, got her some water droplets. I knew she was going to die. I have no idea how long she was out in that heat bleeding. She lived. She lived. I woke up the next morning. Her eyes are still closed, and she's just kind of trying to learn how to use her legs and walk around my kitchen. So I nursed her back to health. She became like an owner in my life, as cats do. And, it's so funny to watch my perspective, with her consciousness. Because at first, my bare feet was a very particular entity. My feet with socks was a very particular entity. And now my feet with shoes is a very particular entity. My left arm became her fighting partner. My right arm became the thing that she wanted to love and kiss and rub her fur on. And my face was dad, right? So over time, as she grew, her eyes opened, 2 weeks later, beautiful emerald eyes. And it took a long time, but eventually she sort of figured out that it was the same being. That was my entire body. So, this little rescue kitty became a teacher to me, to learn that even though we're looking at fragments of a whole, eventually we're going to get to understand exactly what we're looking at.
The power of the mind is something we don't really understand. For experiencers, they seem to become more telepathic, more knowing, more understanding of what is going on. They're empathic. They tend to have a lot more feeling for the human psyche. Is this something that the ETs or the extraterrestrials unlock, or is this something that we have just forgotten as humanity has moved forward, that we actually have this ability?
From what I know, you're either born a viable experiencer right off the bat, or later on in life, your epigenetics, usually through trauma, wake up and start to feed into the motor function. This is your cell phone to the universe. Now, think of it where you have religions where you have to pray to speak to the universe, right? John the Baptist would literally grab you by the neck and give you a drowning experience to give you that trauma. We didn't have MRIs back then, but obviously there was knowledge to wake up that motor function in your brain. Now, if you look at the monarch butterfly, the first, second, and third generations kind of stay in the same area. They mate, they breed, they live a normal life. But the fourth generation has such a powerful motor function that it detects the Schumann resonance, the electromagnetic field of the earth. So it literally flies south for the winter, just like birds. And that's what you find in quintessential experiencers. Our baseline of EEG is 30 hertz, where everyone else tops out, and we go to 50 hertz, 100 hertz. So we're tapped into things that other people wouldn't notice or understand. It's a stronger electromagnetic field. So in a way, even though it's not every fourth generation for human beings, it's still within the family bloodlines. And I find that really fascinating and very interesting. But, for myself, for Travis, for many people I've met that the public will never hear about, is they go in contact. A good friend of mine that was on the, I believe, USS Roosevelt, Kevin Day, he contacted me in 2014. Normal guy his whole life. He literally saw this on his radar, and he left his post. You're not supposed to leave your post, but he had to see this thing with his own eyes. And the moment he laid eyes on this object, he began to cry. He had no idea why he became sensitive. He's a tough Navy guy. He's not allowed to be sensitive. all the other guys on the bridge are like, what's wrong with you? It's just an object, but it impacted him. And he actually, when he went home from the Navy, he lived in the woods. He drank too much. He wanted to be around nature. He didn't want to be around people, felt everything. So he was going through this process where he needed to get away from everything and be alone while he was going through this process as a grown man, instead of like my friend Heidi. She was born that way. So, it's really difficult to do that and not have anyone notice. I mean, I can't imagine how many people that have been locked away and put on Thorazine because they were going through that particular process and not able to fully make it through before they're diagnosed as some sort of crazy person. I've talked to a lot of diagnosed schizophrenics. You pull up their MRI, I'm like, where's your schizophrenia? You can find schizophrenia in the brain. Google it. And these MRIs have no schizophrenia in the brain whatsoever, but they're on debilitating medication. It's terrible, and they actually believe they have this, neurological warping or disease or mental illness when they actually don't. They have what I have, and it's terrible to see that kind of suffering. And in that type of thinking, we can realize that we still every 100 years think we're the pinnacle of human understanding, but every 100 years we are incredibly wrong. And right now we are still incredibly wrong. And I'm just in a position to tell people, embrace who you are, find a way, get your exit buddy, always have that one experiencer friend to talk to, even if you're not an experiencer, because it's helpful having that. I mean, if PhDs, organizations, aerospace want to reach out to someone like myself, then there's some value there. But armchair quarterbacks that just want to throw rocks at you and not look at data, not look at the proof, not look at the reality of it. I mean, those people don't matter to people that are actually on the field. We got our helmets on and we're playing the game. And, that's me and you, my friend. We're out there making a difference.
Well, we're trying. 2 minutes to go before we have to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Eric Mitchell is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Eric, when you take a look at everything that you've gone through, you've dealt with MUFON, you've dealt with government officials, what do you think the psyop behind all of this is? What are they trying to engage us or disengage us with?
Well, I've been in positions where I've been on the phone with universities when the DOD will walk in the classroom, commandeer what everyone's working on, give everyone an NDA. And no, this is not a sci-fi film. This is real life. And they take all this research from these, young, brilliant PhD students, the professor, and they walk out. It belongs to them because of national security. And I think we kind of fall into that category that they want theirs first. There's research and studies that have been literally stolen legally somehow. And that's how it really works. They walk into Harvard University. We're taking all of this. There's nothing you can say about it. If you do speak on this, you will not see a judge. You will not see a jury. You will go to prison. That scares the hell out of a student. So they don't talk. So I think when it comes to experiencers, even over all this time, they still want to squander it. And I think maybe they are. I know of a few. I would never reach out and talk to them. I am angry about what they're doing, but they are squandering this medical information. I don't think they're doing it for themselves just to keep it and die. I think they're giving it to somebody that we don't know about.
Human someone or other?
Retired CIA, number one, is very dangerous. You cannot be in the CIA for that many years and just kind of go home and watch football until you die.
Hold that thought, Eric. Hold that thought. We're going to come back from break right after this with Eric Mitchell.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, buddy, we're clear.
Break time, huh?
Yeah, another half hour here. And then do you want to stick around for hour 3?
I might be able to. I got to check my messages, make sure everybody's in good mental health. You know, I always have to drop out of something to help people, but yeah, we've definitely got to continue with that questioning, man, because you're really getting into the good stuff. Like, I don't know if I should drop the name Dr. Christopher Green, but he was the head of the phenomenology desk at the Pentagon for a long time.
Yeah.
And he was already retired CIA, right? And
well, let's save this stuff for when we come back on the radio.
Right. I just wanted to keep the train of thought.
Yeah. I'll get you there. I can promise you I will do that. Man, this is a good show, man.
It's been a crazy life. That's for damn sure.
Did I tell you the last time I got taken, was in February?
No, you didn't tell me about that.
Yeah, my dad was there. That was the first time I'd seen my dad when I was taken.
Was your dad passed?
No, he's alive.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So it was really weird because when I get taken, it starts off in dream state, right? And so I was having this dream. I was in this dark alleyway with my dad, my cousin, and one of my best friends growing up. And I was saying to them, hold on, before we get out of here, I got to grab my cell phone, which is sitting on a stairwell. And for some reason, my cell phone was one of those indestructible 1994 Nokia cell phones. And then I got the gravitational pull. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I dropped the phone. Something happened to me on that trip that made me very emotional. I went to bed at 1:00. I woke up at 2:09 a.m. My chest was ice cold. I was freezing. The minute I was fine, pardon me, until my feet hit the ground. And then I was uncontrollably freezing. I ran to the bathroom, did my thing, hopped in the shower because I was so cold, and then went back to bed. Anyways, long story short, I called my dad the next morning and said, Dad, how did you sleep last night? And he goes, well, I would toss and turn. I woke up a couple of times. So, well, what time did you wake up? He goes, well, I woke up at 7:15 this morning. And I said, no, in the middle of the night. He goes, well, the first time was just after 2:00. I said, what woke you up? Because I woke up at 2:09. I said, what woke you up? He goes, there was a loud bang like something fell on the floor in the other room. Remember my dream, I dropped my cell phone. He goes, funny part about it, nothing was there. I couldn't find anything. I said, okay. I said, when you woke up, what was it like? He goes, I was cold. So I went and got another blanket. And I was cold too. I said, how are you feeling this morning? And he goes, to be honest, I feel great. He goes, I'm not hacking or wheezing or anything this morning. He goes, I haven't felt like that in years.
Wow. Yeah. Doesn't those, I say little things because we try to call them little things, but they're huge. They impact us, so deeply.
Well, my dad lives 5 hours away from me.
Yeah, that really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. It's like a quantum connection.
Oh yeah, it was weird.
It brings it all together.
It was totally weird. Hey, we got about 40 seconds left. Give me a couple minutes here. A couple seconds here, rather. Thank you to Louis ×2, Deborah Rooney, Human Carl, Stacy, and Richard for the amazing super chats tonight. Greatly appreciate your love and support of SOR. As well, don't forget to shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. You can wear our stuff out in public and be proud of it. And we're going to get going here in about 17, 18 seconds, Eric.
Sounds good, my friend.
All right. 1 second here. Da-da-da. 5 seconds. Here we go with the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thanks for tuning us in. My name is Dave Scott. We're going to continue the conversation with Eric Mitchell right after this. But first, I want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to YouTube or on any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Eric Mitchell is here. We are talking about government. We are talking about people who investigate what is going on. Eric, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure, man. I love catching up with you, even though if there's other people listening. It's great to hear your voice. You know, it's a lonely life in this thing. Even if you have, friends and family and everybody surrounding you, you're still, in a very specific off-standing when it comes to so many things. So, fellow experiencers are very important to talk to on a regular basis, and you being one of them. But like I said, I don't do radio, but when you contacted me, I said, heck yeah, dude, let's do it.
Yeah, man. That's why we love having you here. Right before the break, I was asking you about government officials, MUFON. Are they trying to keep it under wraps? Are they trying to really investigate to solve this issue? Do they know who it is, what it is, and are they just playing dumb like NASA? What was your thoughts on this? You were just getting into some comments.
Oh, gosh, man. First of all, retired CIA. Not CIA that's active right now, but retired. People that are used to living this very particular life. Having to retire, they're not going to fit back in the box. Us experiencers, we never fit back in the box. So what do they do when they're retired? All kinds of stuff. Once you're out, you're never out. And that's what they say. Dr. Christopher Green, he's working with Stanford University on experiencer studies once again. He's been in this game for a long time. Who's he reporting to? Who's he giving this information to? Ron Pandolfi, and the list can go on. The Aviary, the Aquarius. Who are these people reporting to? And my mind goes back to Eisenhower's farewell address, where he talks about be careful of the military-industrial complex. They're probably going to get it, out of control, and they have. They literally have. And taking pilot reports, people in the military, and things of that nature, I've learned they whisper. They won't even talk out loud. They'll whisper about these very rich, very strong people that influence the White House. They influence Hollywood. They influence television, and it becomes a very scary thing. It really does. But who are all these people reporting to? I don't have any names. Back when I got sick, Audrey was. I don't even want to talk about what happened to Audrey. That was terrible. But we were digging up the names in the Aviary back in the day, the Aquarius. And then the Cicady, and that's when we were really poking the hornet's nest, and a lot of lives were ruined over that. So there's some really bad people out there, and they're reporting to much more bad people. They don't care about don't care about people. They don't care about human life. They want domination. They want control. They want pretty much sociopathic people that they have too much power in this country, just like Eisenhower warned us about. So I think there's going to be, and there already has, a lot of pushback with this disclosure that we're in now, a very particular vernacular of disclosure, if I will. But disclosure itself is a very personal thing. It doesn't come from a podium. It doesn't come from PhDs. It doesn't come from science. It becomes a rabbit hole for you. It becomes your own particular flavor. Nobody tastes the same thing and the same exact way. So personal disclosure is happening all over the world at a rampant speed, and you can't put that toothpaste back in the bottle. And I find that fascinating.
The cover up that is going on right now, we see all these drones going on. We see them hiding UFOs under the acronym UAP. We see the fact that they still seem very hesitant to touch on the extraterrestrial hypothesis. Is this all part of a long game plan, or is this just something where they are trying to keep what they actually know from the public?
David, you nailed it. I mean, look, sometimes when you look at something or observe something, you can see that it's there. When you're investigating something, I always like to keep the idea of what's missing. And our own government has a lot missing. They just have too much missing, and what's going on there. So automatically our Constitution, our system, everything that's supposed to work in perfect play is in disarray when it comes to this. I mean, we've all watched our House, our Congress. We've watched this, and there's a lot of pushback. Why is there pushback? If there's nothing here, why is there pushback? Why are there delays? What's going on? I don't want to get too deep into the conversation, but we can obviously all see there's a problem. I mean, we've got an IQ over 60. And, shout out to Parsi, guys. If you don't know who he is, you might want to pay attention because he's going to end up like me in the future.
I think Parsi follows me on X.
Yeah, he's going through it right now. Like literally right now.
Parsi, we got to talk. We got to talk, my man.
Definitely. That's a guy to talk to because he's freshly minted into cosmic consciousness in a different level every time I talk to him.
All right. I want to ask you about the experiencer here, okay? Because for many experiencers, you, me, and others, yes, we've found our own groups, but it seems like we have kind of been jutted to the side of ufology since 2017. And it's become more of a nuts and bolts type game than a humanity type game. I understand why the government is doing that. Many people do not. Do you think that the government has a list or knows how many experiencers are out there right now, Eric?
Absolutely not. No. I talked to a lot of experiencers. They get a little paranoia. They think, am I going to get into trouble? No, absolutely not. Once you start making big moves, once you start making big splashes, that's when you start to get into a little trouble. But if we all started to make moves, there's nothing they can do about it. I mean, these hidden people, they're trying to cover up their own tracks right now. They can care less about what we're doing. At the moment, there's a lot of cover up to be going on. I mean, I've got a friend in the White House, actually a couple, that have relayed to me that there's so many witnesses coming forward, whistleblowers, and you name it. people from the past, counterintelligence is being brought, forward, and they know counterintelligence, they're shaking in the knees. They're going to have to go before Congress under an oath, which is potential prison time, if there's lying going on and stuff like that. So, it's on its way. Like I said, you can't put the toothpaste back in the bottle. So regardless of any hope or idea of what's going to happen in the near future, something actually has to, and that's a very interesting thing that we're all going to have to pay attention to. Yes, it's going to be slow. And if we use our entertainment-based minds when we look at the subject, we're really not going to grasp the full veracity of what's actually going on. Instead of feeling endorphins, use your analytical brain and just realize that these Legos are piling up to where you can't go back. We're not going to be able to go backwards. There are too many people right now going through personal disclosure, and that's what builds the wall. That's what builds the string. And just creating these small situations where we can, have committees in the House and conversations privately with Congress and stuff like that. Congress loves to gather all the information they can before they sit you down and they can act dumb. And when the witness or the person on the stand believes all this, then they start to shark bite. Then they start to fight back. So it's a bit of a tactic they use. So they're going to be fully aware. They're not going to be caught off guard in future hearings when it comes to people that are subpoenaed and brought forward. They're playing penny right now. But once they really start cracking down and putting these people on the stand and putting them under oath, once the oath starts coming forward, that's when the crap is going to hit the fan with all this.
Well, the one thing that I found interesting in one of the last hearings, was that both Nancy Mace and Anna Paulina Luna, the congresswomen who have really been leading some of the charge with Tim Burchett on this, was that how disappointed they were at the lack of stories and knowledge and name dropping and everything that the panel was giving them. At some point, if we're going to continue these hearings, some people are going to have to answer some questions too, Eric.
Absolutely. I mean, all backs are against the wall. The arrogance of misanthropic sociopaths forgotten that we, the people, have at least a little power left in this country, regardless if you're told that you're supposed to be a particular color. Are you crypt? Red or blue? Are you, Coca-Cola, or are you Pepsi? Are you red or blue? There's so many things that challenge you to be red or blue, but that's just a ridiculous thing to divide and conquer people. We the people mean we the people when it comes to the Constitution of the United States. And when it comes to major suffering all over the world, whether you're an experiencer or not, we don't show our suffering. But I'm here to tell you, I promise, it's there. And we got to come together on this. But it's definitely irreversible at this point.
At this point, what do you think the government knows about experiencers, about the phenomenon? Because I have a feeling they're just playing stupid. They're playing us for fools.
Well, I mean, Luna, Burchett, and the whole group in that area, they know a lot more than what they're letting off to the public. They're learning things all the time. They're having meetings in private. There's no skiff allowed at this point, which I find ridiculous. But they are getting information from people all over the world, including myself. I send in information. I actually sent information to a senator through email, and he didn't contact me back. I was like, are you kidding me? The guy never responded to me. And I had great information to share to him. He should have checked it out. And next thing you know, I'm talking to my colleagues at Harvard, and they're saying, "Yeah, this guy he flew out and went to Stanford and learned a bunch of information." I was like, "Oh my God!" So he never checked me out. He never responded to my email. He just directly flew in a private jet to Stanford to learn this himself. So I mean, God, it pisses me off because I've spent so much money on flights and hotel rooms, and all I could have done was an email at this point. That was a strong email. I thought it went nowhere, but it turns out in the back channel that he flew out and retrieved experiencer information from Nolan and Green. So, that was a slam dunk. I felt pretty good that day. I had a Red Bull, shake my butt a little bit. I felt really good about that. So, even emails can do a huge job. But sitting down, doing nothing, or entertaining yourself when it comes to the subject is not good. We've got to do things about this. We don't want to see humanity go in the direction it's going anyway.
Right.
If you put people like me, people like yourself, we're highly capable of doing so many things. If we learn to work together through our own pain, through our own empathy, through our own love, and we channel with each other, we work together in networks, we come together for the first time in human history, the world will be a better place for everyone, not just us, in a very short period of time. And I can promise you that.
You say that the Congress people and the government officials know more than what they're letting on.
Absolutely.
What gives you that estimation?
Well, I've spoken to an awful lot of people, but at the same time, it's absolutely strategic in a court-based setting for the judge to know a lot more about the criminal than the criminal realizes. So in this particular tactic, you're going to watch the lies that come to you and be able to combat that very quickly. That way you can really be effective in a court setting. Congress is especially innate when it comes to this type of thing because they are not allowed to get run over. They represent the American people, and they do not want to be caught between a rock and a hard place. So therefore, they've been way ahead so far, and they always just watch them when it comes to regular situations, not just disclosure, but regular situations. They will call people out for lying all the time.
As get away from the government officials, but let's talk a little bit about the Pentagon. We saw a week later after the talks where James Lukatsky, I believe, no, it wasn't Lukatsky, I apologize, the new head of Arrow, all of a sudden I'm blanking on his name, was sitting there giving testimony even though it wasn't under oath. And there's Susan Goff, whatever you want to call her, the PR person for the Pentagon, basically their top propagandist, sitting there with just a death stare on him, making sure that he didn't say anything that was a little bit too flagrant in making the Pentagon look bad. Is that how political it's gotten? Is that these people at the Pentagon would sooner not answer to Congress and instead try and protect the private contractors of the military who are all working together under the military industrial complex?
Well, sure. I mean, buddy, we're used to this. I mean, look at Project Blue Book. I know people that are still alive that are a part of the classified part of Project Blue Book. And why is that classified? Why are these people, still alive to really talk about it? Yeah, and that's the same thing that we're dealing with right now. Private industry, earmarking, lobbyists, the whole, nasty deal when it comes to all this stuff. I mean, when people say Arrow to me, my brain just says Blue Book because it's just a rehash of that. I'm not paying attention to Arrow. I really don't care what they have to say. I personally know a lot of people that have delivered a lot of information to Arrow, and Arrow just has amnesia. They never talk to them. There's no, information passed back and forth. They just play dumb, and that's Blue Book. I mean, that's the same playbook that's been going on for 60, 70, 80 years. So, I mean, I just don't even pay attention to Arrow. It's a lost cause. It would take an awful lot for me to even bat an eye in that direction. And mind you, it's a very important thing, when counterintelligence and things of that nature happen. The biggest problem we have with this is zeitgeist. If the Kardashians are having a big blowout show tonight, everybody thinks that that's where they're supposed to be. And it just, no wonder they call it sheeple, because we're supposed to look at this now. We're supposed to look at that now. Be your own thinker. Do your own research. Don't be told what to look into. Don't follow the status quo or what's popular right now. I know a lot of YouTube shows have to jump on and say, this is what's popular today. And no, forget what's popular today. Don't follow the fad. Don't buy the Gucci, of ufology. Follow what's right. Follow what's earnest. Follow the integrity and what's really making the big impacts out there, and not the trend. I mean, a lot of people are socially engineered to be trendy when it comes to ufology or the study of what's going on here. But that just keeps us lost. We have to see through social engineering and really keep our eye on the target. Don't lose sight and get the job done.
Well, I mean, and I think you hit the nail on the head there about how trendy this has become. I mean, when you even hear longtime ufologists who've been in the game 25, 30 years skipping out on the term UFOs for UAP, that tells you that they're trying to keep up with the new brand, the new way, and the new trends just in order to stay relevant, rather than for fighting for what they've fought for so many years.
That point you just made is spot on, my friend. It is more important than what most people think. We develop an entertainment mind. I mean, television is kind of new to humanity. Pay attention to your programming. I remember, I'm old enough to remember the days where television ended at 12 o'clock midnight. We'd do the national anthem. They would play 432 hertz. Ooh, it's healthy for you, and then you go to sleep, right? So it's turned into something that's not healthy anymore. That the entertainment mind is the only aspect of the mind that can grasp UFOs and NHI and UAP or whatever we want to call them. So therefore, we're neglecting the reality of it. We want to fill our endorphins. It's a fascination. It's an entertainment thing. But let's all put that away. People are suffering from this. It's not entertaining anymore. It's real. It's going to be a huge change. As we discovered fire, it changed the world, the consciousness of the world. Once we discovered the wheel, it changed the consciousness and how we lived on this entire planet. But listen, disclosure will do that once again. And it will change everything that we know, every aspect of everything that we know in this fraudulent society. This little game we're playing with pieces of paper that are more important than lives. So, we got to let down the entertainment aspect and look into the reality of things. Really take hold and make sure you're serious when you look at the subject instead of just being entertained, because it means the future of our children, our grandchildren. It's their future. So it's no longer entertainment. It's game time.
Eric, we are done 2 hours here on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to take a break. We got a lot more coming up in hour number 3. We're going to see if Eric can stick around. If not, we'll have Swamp Dweller and Tim James with the UFO Report. Tim will be with us momentarily.
You're
as well.
listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we'll be right back, guys. All right, there we go, Eric. one sec, Eric. All right. We got a minute to go. Eric, you're back in front of the microphone. We'll bring in little Timmy James. How you doing, Timmy?
Good, and you?
Good. Eric's going to stick with us till the bottom of the hour.
Cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yes.
You too. How you doing? Who else came in here? Kozlowski. Thank you, E-Talkin. Thank you. Had that brain fart there. Kozlowski. So we're gonna skip Swampy.
Okay.
And we're gonna continue with Eric. And do you have a few minutes after the bottom of the hour, Tim?
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna make it all work.
All right.
All right, 20 seconds, guys. Thank you to Louis times 2, Deborah Rooney, Human Carl, Richard, and Stacy, as well as Aloha Dave. Appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the lovely super chats. Here we go. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Gadzookery. Gadzookery is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. We got Eric Mitchell till the bottom of the hour. Tim James from the UFO Report joining us now. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. And we're going to continue on with Eric here. And Tim, if you have a question, feel free to jump in at any time for Eric. And so let's just roll with it right now. Eric, we were talking about the governmental side of everything in the last half hour. What do you think, Eric, is in that Pandora's box that is sitting inside the Pentagon regarding this subject? You've talked to enough people now to actually have some sort of understanding of what they have and what they don't have.
Well, it's what Eisenhower really warned us about is that breakaway government, huge financial system, with drug monies, cartels, very dirty things that a lot of people wouldn't want to believe is going on or real. It's very strong in our country right now. It's very strong globally. There's trafficking. There's so many different things that are financing this very terrible, narcissistic, sociopathic group of people that it's become very ugly. We talk about gifting sites or crashes or crash retrievals or anything like that. Technology squandered and billions of dollars are being made. I mean, at one point you could believe that it doesn't matter who's in the White House because it's all bought and paid for by lobbyists and earmarking and a very disgusting thing. I mean, there's a huge political problem right now, and I think it derives from that, especially when you tend to test it a little bit, and it's being tested and it's being fought back. So, who is the man behind the curtain? Who are the people behind this curtain? Who is the Oz that is, doing these things? So, Eisenhower talked about, we understand and we recognize we have the need for this type of secrecy, but don't let it get out of control. And it is definitely out of control. And we've got to do something about this. And I don't think the average person even cares or knows what's going on or how ugly it is. Or, the average person might be looking at P. Diddy and going, wow, I never saw that one coming. Well, that's how disgusting it gets. That's how disgusting it really gets.
Do you think in that Pandora's box that's sitting in the Pentagon regarding UFOs, crash retrievals, recovery of non-biologicals, do you think that they have some sort of understanding of how these craft work, how the communication is going with these other people, time travel? Do you think all of these are a part of it?
Yeah, it's a very small group attached to a very large group. It's a trickle down effect. There are very few people that have the answers, and then it trickles down to a lot of people that have fragments of answers. That's kind of how it morphed over time. But it's a very disgusting thing. As an empath or as a decent person, you couldn't possibly surmise or cast a rock at a thought that people could be that evil to disregard life, human beings as garbage. But here we are, and our economic systems are God. In the 1950s, when we discovered the possibility of computers, they estimated by the year 2000 that one person in a household could work 10 hours a week and support an entire family, 2-car garage. And they really wondered what we would do with all that spare time, And where did that money go? Where was it squandered? You're talking about billions of dollars over so many years. And computers are actually more effective than we ever imagined they could possibly be. And so when we have our rose-colored glasses on and we think that, America's perfect and the world is okay, no, there's a problem. There's a huge monetary problem. There's a huge control problem. And it's gotten really ugly. People can't afford groceries. We're supposed to be, we make up 13% of the world, but we are the richest, most influential country in the world. But now you have to think who's influencing us. Vladimir Putin really doesn't like our influence. He's shutting down social media and all influence so we can have, the quintessential family instead of what we have here, which is families falling apart and traditional means of life just completely going away over, cabals or government or banana republic teaching us that we're supposed to have this new different way of life, and all bets are off, and decency is gone, love is gone, relationships are gone, family units are gone. That's the same type of propaganda and social engineering that you're going to see with the CCP in China, that saw Hong Kong wanted to be a democracy. So they released the swine flu and the bird flu and sent federal dollars into schools, for small children that could only be used to teach alternative sexuality and pronouns. And, it brought Hong Kong to its knees. And people
a lot of things have been brought down to the knees regarding just the societal norms of this. But is this all part of covering up UFOs?
No, of course not. Of course not. I mean, you have these, globalists with their own agenda, so many different agendas, power and money. These people forget about humanity. They want more power. They get bored. What if I give someone, a homeless man, $1 billion? They become an asshole in 6 months. Sorry about the language, but in 6 months because of the change that happens. You've got to hold to your own integrity when it comes to these things. And so you can buy everything. You can control anything you want. Why not get into nastier things and nastier things? And it just becomes a spiral that's out of control. There's no satisfaction. You have to have more. You have to have more. And it's a very ugly thing because, we've built this monetary system that makes you worship paper instead of love, instead of your child, instead of your wife, instead of reality. We actually walked out of nature and created a strip mall all over this planet with pieces of paper and believe it's reality. We're going to look into the past and we're going to say, gosh, you remember those times when we actually worshiped paper? We were told to worship paper instead of, putting more time into love, empathy, decency, creating the world where no one suffered. None of our veterans have to be homeless anymore. We got plenty of paper to keep people from suffering. Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, if you think about that, we don't have enough paper to protect people that protect us.
Yeah, I hear you there, and amen to what you're saying there. That is 100% for sure. Getting back to the government side of this whole phenomena and what they know, what they don't know. Do you believe then that there are jump rooms, there are these areas, like whether it's at Area 51 or wherever it may be, that they do have these secrets hidden, that there are certain aspects of the technology we have been able to reverse engineer to learn more about where they're coming from, who they are?
That's a hornet's nest for sure. Look, there's probably, from people I've talked to, technologies that literally should be under wraps. I believe in that. I believe in national security. Please don't get me wrong. But when it comes to other things, it should come out. It should be out. But yeah, we've got some things that are definitely mind blowing. I can definitely attest to that. Jump rooms, I don't know for sure. Now, I can attest to free energy devices. I can definitely attest to that. I've seen that. You can hear from speculators and things of that nature, but I like to go with firsthand knowledge. When I talk to my friends like yourself or audiences that are listening, I don't want to overstep my knowledge, when it comes to things. But definitely free energy, definitely some pretty amazing things. But people like myself should not be, put under that. It should not be. I'm a citizen. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a decent guy. Why should I not be allowed to be me? Why should I not exist? Even though I get up every day, I walk out into the world and I make impacts out there. So, technology is fascinating, but first and foremost, we need to accept the fact that people like you, people like myself, Heidi, Parsi, and millions of people all over the world do exist, and our capabilities are much more than what we're allowed to be. And once we change that conversation in society, we can take our place in society and use our empathy to make the world a better place.
Tim, do you have any questions for Eric?
No, actually, I'm quite interested in just listening, and it's a very fascinating conversation. I was trying to do some stuff tonight and listening to you guys, and yeah, very good, very good. I'm a sponge right now.
Yeah, he's pretty sponge-worthy. Eric needs a T-shirt that says "I'm sponge-worthy." That's for sure.
Well, I'm not used to compliments, but I'll take that one.
No, it's been very interesting. Like I say, I haven't been out was sitting doing some stuff down here and watching and listening to the show, and yeah, there's some deep stuff. It's like wow, very distracting. I was trying to get some stuff done for the report, but great conversation. A very very good show tonight, and yeah, I'm got some food for thought. I'm going to be looking into some of the stuff that you guys were talking about earlier.
Eric, I want to ask you about this latest drone flap that is going on. That I tend to believe that this is very much human technology, not alien technology. That is a little bit too coincidental coming off the last hearings that we had recently. How do you feel about it all? How do you feel about the aspect of having these drone incursions going on and people claiming it's aliens and the invasion has begun?
Dave, that's a loaded question, my friend. I don't watch the news. I really don't like being socially engineered. I don't like to be told what to think, what to buy, what to wear, who to hate, who to love, who to emulate, all these things. So I really don't watch my programming, right? So what I do in particular is very one-sided. I take reports from people that have experiences. People that have experiences, they absolutely know if it's a drone, helicopter, airplane, whatever. I'll say like Little Bella, 3'8", Bit River, Philippines, Bulacan province, in the middle of the woods, makeshift house out of pallets and tarps. The weather is pretty warm there. They prefer to have fans, but no aircon, or what we would call AC. And so I take these reports from experiencers, and they are seeing drones, and they're also seeing objects, real objects, what they're used to seeing before any of this happened. It sure is a display, it definitely is one. But to separate the two, now look, we've got drones. My son, actually, he's in the Army now, and he works in drone technologies and all that stuff. He probably said a few things to me he shouldn't have said, but I miss him and he misses Dad. We got really close. This boy grew up in a MUFON investigation. He should have been doing football. He should have been doing playing the flute. He should have been doing so many different things. And I hate myself because I wanted him to have a good childhood. And he did, but at the same time didn't. Turned out to be a great kid and amazing young man. And when his country turned their back on my family, he didn't turn his back on our country. As a matter of fact, he's doing our best, to put his integrity where it belongs and serve the country that failed him. Right? To me, that's integrity. That's a real man. And it's some sort of display that I'd love to articulate, get into, but no drone is going to get in the wrong airspace. We have signals to shut that down. We have EMPs to shut that down. We have signal walls to shut that down. No drone goes where it's not supposed to go. We have NASA's Highway in the Sky program that would shut down anything that's now used for military application. We were going to use those, for flying cars and stuff like that, but we're just not quite there yet. But the Highway in the Sky program can shut down any drone, any signature, anytime, any day, including civilian, beyond equivocation, because that is national security. So we're left with some sort of spectacle, a display of, look over here, look over there. Let's get a hold of everyone's zeitgeist, because we don't want people thinking there's UFOs. So let's put a bunch of drones in the air during disclosure to maybe fallacy everyone's thoughts when it comes to this subject, or God knows, God only knows. But I can speculate all day, but I absolutely, positively don't know. I just know that it's God. I could just bull poop. I think it's a load of crap.
A lot of people would. A lot of people would believe that, you know, these are some sort of plan for the next false flag of alien contact, Eric.
Well, sure. On my end, I don't watch the news. I've heard about it. Yeah, I've seen things on Twitter. I've seen things on social media. And I'm looking at these things and I'm going, no, you know, and I speak to, you know, people that I work with in China and Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is important. Not many people know about this huge country in Asia that not many people are allowed out. Not many people are allowed in. It's a very preserved country. If you drop your bread and it lands on the top side, you're cursed for 7 years, like breaking a mirror. You know, it's a very different, you know, idea of life when it comes to what we're used to, which is great, you know, to learn these things. But they're seeing these things. There's no drones allowed in that country. There's no drones allowed. I mean, shoot down, shut down, no matter what. And, you know, you think about American national security, we would have shut them down immediately anyway. There's systems set up that we don't have to push a button. It just shuts them down. So I don't know why we're playing this game. I don't know why. Are we testing to see if people are stupid? Is that what we're doing? You know, to test a little bit further and a little bit further to see how many people are dumb or ignorant to the whole situation. But, you know, I deal on the side of real sightings, and how I judge real sightings is the very particular emotional breakdown of the quintessential experiencer, the worldview destruction, that marker, that signature, that phonetic deal that I'm very used to is unmistakable. So if someone sees a drone, they're not going to call me with a deep emotional worldview impact.
We got 90 seconds to go before we have to say goodnight to you, Eric. Where do you see us going into 2025 with ufology? I need a minute answer.
I don't know about ufology, but as far as disclosure, we're going to go the next year further into disclosure than we have in 80 years, virtually overnight. I think, you know, we're looking at 2027 where China kind of goes into Taiwan, and that's going to spark the biggest war in human history. So I think people really need to pay attention to that. 2027 could potentially be the worst war we've ever seen, you know, in our lifetime. It's a plan of theirs. They're going after Taiwan. After that point, America will have to step in. Now you have to look at the Navy. You know, first and foremost, you know, it's not far from our Western land. So their Navy is a lot stronger than ours, a lot more intelligence, a lot more technology based and involved. Yeah, we do blow them away with other technologies, but it's still potential for the most drastic war the world's ever seen. And I hate to say, you know, doom and gloom, but let's just be candid. You know, that's definitely on the list for things to happen. So leaving UFOs or ufology or disclosure out of it, you know, if we don't have this consciousness change.
This is Spaced Out Radio. Your host, Dave Scott.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you, my man.
Good catching up, Dave. You have a nice night, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, we'll do it soon, okay?
All right. Take care, brother.
See you,
have
brother.
a good night.
Good night. All right, Eric Mitchell, everybody. Now, be honest. Beginning of the show, when I did roll call and called your name, did you do it to the TV?
What do you think? Of course I did. Yes. Right back at you, buddy.
That's right. Eric is amazing. Just
no
amazing.
doubt. No doubt. There's a couple points. It was just like, that was, yeah, very, very, very interesting.
Yeah. It's very tapped in. Very
Yeah.
tapped.
Yep, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
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 So how was the day today, sir?
Boring.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah. I was late on, well, not late, but pushing the deadline to get the reconciliations done for the end of November. I got till, tomorrow afternoon, all day today in front of the computer, balancing. I was, oh my gosh.
By the way, dear leader sure didn't make a lot of friends today.
No. When does he? All right.
You know what? I'll get into this in a couple seconds, but I'll just say it. What an asshole.
Yeah. He's a piece of work.
Yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know, dear leader here in Canada decided to invoke more gun control rights and ban another 324 weapons because they look like they are dangerous assault weapons. Not because they are, but because they look like it. This is a moron whose government recently banned Black Rifle coffee because it had a gun on the packaging.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we are in Canada right now. So I'll just say it. I am officially a criminal.
Yes, you are, sir.
I've never been in trouble with the law in my life. And I am a legal owner of pointy sticks. Okay. I have my license, so does Tim.
Mm-hmm.
And all because communism has begun here. I'm a criminal.
Yes. But you do look bad holding them.
Yeah.
I told the wife and she was like, are you kidding me? Yeah, she was on that rant today as well.
Oh, yeah. We're not in the States. We're in Canada, Jedi. Yeah, so the other thing dear leader did today was he wants everybody who has an Airbnb or a Verbo rental property for tourism. He's going to make it illegal to have those, to have rental suites, when you could be renting those Airbnbs out to shelter people from our homeless crisis or from the immigration crisis right now.
He's a peach. Trying to escape on you?
I think they got sick of it, so they both collapsed at the same time. No, Vanessa, nobody wants to be woke in this world.
Okay. Yeah.
20 seconds. I'm still getting an echo from you, Tim.
Really?
Yeah.
That's strange.
Here we go. Oh, like 5 seconds. Here comes the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate being here and listening here. We're going to get to the UFO report here momentarily, but first, we want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/spaced out radio. You can also download us on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. And on that note, let's get to the UFO report.
That is an interplanetary flying space saucer. You have made me very angry. Very angry indeed.
All right, Tim James, UFO report. Coming through large and in charge, taking over the Dave 101 tonight.
Uh-oh.
What are you doing with that, man?
What am I doing with what?
Well,
Take it
I'm
over?
just saying that you better have a power report here for me to cancel the Dave 101 for you.
I think the SOR everybody SOR is going, "Aw, it's Tim and not get off my lawn." I'll do my best. So, I guess Arrow is got the big meeting this week, the closed door, the follow-up to the one they had recently. So, and apparently Arrow is functioning at full operational capacity as lawmakers prep for the classified UAP briefing. So lawmakers are getting ready to for a closed-door discussions with the Pentagon's new Arrow director on December 6th. The Pentagon's Unexplained Phenomenon Investigation Hub, Arrow, has officially reached full operational capacity, confirmed on Thursday. This news comes as Arrow's new chief, John Kozlowski, prepares to participate in a classified briefing with House Oversight and Accountability Committee members on Friday. It also follows recent comments from Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, noting his leadership team's recognition of the Defense Department's need to continue to intentionally and strategically make sense of its steadily growing caseload of reports involving UAPs that could threaten U.S. national security. There are things that have happened and probably will continue to happen that are difficult to explain. And so when we encounter things like that, we will go and investigate those things, because whether it's some really unexplained phenomena or it's just something that is unexplainable, we just have to go to the root cause, Austin said during a recent trip to Laos. So lots of things and stuff he was talking about. We've organized our effort to ensure that we can methodically identify and assess these incidents. And I want to thank Congress for continuing to support us with the resources that we need to be effective, he said. Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks formally set up Arrow in mid 2022. Little over a year after its launch, she mentioned that the office was moving swiftly to achieve the status of full operational capability in fiscal 2024. September 30th marked the last day on the fiscal calendar, and surprise, Arrow reached full operational capacity as of the 1st. In practical terms, this means Arrow now has the requisite personnel, expertise, facilities, and tools to carry out its core mission, Department of Defense spokesman Sue Gao stated on Thursday. In prior decades, the Pentagon established more secretive versions of teams to concentrate on UAP, or what is now considered multi-domain transmedium UFOs. But with Arrow's creation, which came largely in response to mounting public and congressional calls for explanations and transparency about increasing reports from government and military personnel who believe they've encountered UAP, the Pentagon is receiving more financial backing and scrutiny associated with its investigations than perhaps ever before. So, November 19th, Kozlowski, who previously served as a longtime physics and engineering leader at the National Security Agency, testified for the first time on the Hill as Arrow's chief of Senate Armed Service Subcommittee on Emerging Threats and Capabilities hearing. Shortly before that, on the 13th of November, Republicans on the House Oversight and Accountability Committee led a hearing in their chamber where former Department of Defense officials spotlighted fresh concerns about military reports of UAP and what some view as still ongoing transparency challenges. So a committee spokesperson said in an email on Thursday that there will be a bipartisan classified briefing on Friday with Kozlowski. The briefing will be open to all members of the Oversight Committee. So there you have it. They've got all their ducks in a row. They're now going to go behind closed doors and discuss deeper what was already discussed in public a couple of weeks ago. So don't know what the plan is there.
Conversation that none of us know about.
Yeah, right.
Tell us that, right?
Yeah. Hey, we're having more talks, but you can't know what it is, what we're doing. So yeah, there. Like I say, I'm like to know what I'd love to be a fly on the wall. Bottom line for that, I'd love to see what's going on with that.
Well, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Mm-hmm.
Because here they're going to have this secret meeting. Everybody's going to talk about this secret meeting, but nobody's going to talk about what was actually in that secret meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be none the wiser, but we're going to feel good about talking about it and then ranting like Grandpa Simpson.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I say, don't know what to expect out of it, but there's a lot of things so they can investigate those things and know things. I was like, what a terrible quote. Excuse me. So, other than that, what's that? Sorry?
Jay Stratton was in the news.
Yeah. So he received the National Intelligence Meritorious Unit Commendation. So I liked Ross Coulhart's little blurb on it. He goes, reading between the lines, looks like Stratton was so damn good at his job investigating UAPs, someone wanted his team's excellent work shut down. Congratulations to Jay Stratton and his team. Here's hoping Department of Justice Arrow shows similar determination under its new leadership. So, yeah, that was kind of like, okay, interesting story too. So he wrote a little letter. I got to spin this around so I can see it. He wrote a little blurb to, I guess, talk about that. He goes, I'm proud to share that on October 17th, 2024, in Washington, D.C., I joined my colleagues from the UAP Task Force in receiving the National Intelligence Meritorious Unit Commendation from the Director of National Intelligence. The recognition honors our groundbreaking efforts to advance the U.S. government's understanding of the UAP phenomenon and to address related national security concerns. As the founder and first director of the UAP Task Force, this was an incredibly proud moment for me. I spent nearly 2 years working behind the scenes to build the foundation of the UAPTF and handpicked the team members before it was formally established by the Department of Defense and made known to the public on August 14th, 2020. The task force was the first whole of government interagency effort designed to centralize UAP investigations, bringing together expertise from across the Department of Defense, the intelligence community, and other federal agencies to address the complexities of the long-ignored national security concern related to UAP and to provide national leadership with actionable intelligence. Unfortunately, the task force progress was often blocked by bureaucracy tampering, institutional stigma, extreme secrecy, and compartmentalization of information, as well as other significant roadblocks. On December 31st, 2020, my rotational assignment to lead the UAP task force concluded as planned, but I was honored to remain a senior advisor. Ultimately, hurdles were faced and led to the task force being shut down about a year later. But the impact was we made endured. The task force marked the beginning of the paradigm shift within the U.S. government, recognizing UAPs as legitimate and pressing issues that demand serious coordinated attention, transparency, accountability, and cross-agency collaborations. So there you have it.
I really don't know what to think about UFOs having an award ceremony.
All the stars were there. Yeah, kind of different. That's for sure. No. So that was a speech, and yeah, kind of a I know that we'd not talked about it, but we shared it back and forth today, and was kind of one of those, huh. When I read it, I was like, okay, this is kind of just a little bit off for me. But
so, but let's get into this for a second here.
yeah, okay, yeah, for sure.
He wins an award. Okay, him and his team win an award about literally chasing UFOs.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a bit flabbergasting, I have to admit. I was like, okay. Yeah, when I was reading it and stuff, I found it very, very, I don't even know if it's self-serving. It just seemed like something else being inserted into the mix master. Drones. Now he's getting a UFO award, and it's like, oh my God. I don't, yeah, it's just a mix mash for me. Somebody's thrown it in the mix master, and it's like, my gosh, what's happening out there?
Oh, I get it. But I guess the funny thing for me is here we have the Pentagon and those inside, like Susan Goff and many others, denying that this is even an issue, that there's nothing going on. Arrow has now done it twice.
Right.
Okay. And now we have an award going to a UFO/UAP program. I don't like it. It doesn't make sense. And hey, good for Stratton. Good for Jay Stratton. Everything I hear about him, he's a good guy.
Right.
He's a very good guy from what I hear. I was talking to somebody about it today.
Right.
And great for anybody to create an award. Okay. And to win an award for whatever they do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I just find it funny that the government keeps talking out of both sides of their mouths at each time. And one side saying they don't exist, they're not here, whatever, and the other side they're giving awards away.
Well, they're not sharing the memo, apparently. I mean, yeah, it's comically ridiculous. I agree with you. And nothing to see here. Oh yeah, look, there's tons of it, right? It's like nobody phoned down and said, hey, we're not supposed to talk about this. I'm not quite sure what that's all about, but yeah, you're right. It's blatantly obvious. It's comical. It's comical. And
it's very comical.
And it just seems to play into, like you said, everything that's going on out there. It's just like, oh my gosh. So whatever. We can bypass that and we can go to this day in history if you'd like.
Let's do it. We've got a few minutes.
I thought so. Okay. So this happened in December of 1980, and this was at 12:45 a.m. In Edwardsville, Illinois. So a 23-year-old worker with 2 years experience in the Civil Air Patrol was driving home westbound a few miles north of town. He was quick to slow down, though, when a dust-like form cut across his view from the south. The young man described the UFO's appearance as two pie pans put together. Only an estimated 100 feet away, the disc seemed to be 40 feet in diameter and at least between 9 and 13 feet in thickness. Dark shape was illuminated mostly at the top by 5 and 10 steady blue-white lights and surrounded by a red glow. Windows were noted and at the center of the craft. The witness tried to drive his car towards the UFO, but the old 1972 Oldsmobile Delta 88 conked out for about 1 to 2 minutes. The witness felt so intimidated and harassed about the experience, though, that he cannot say whether the car's failure was his own fault or attributable to the presence of the disc. The UFO sat there for between 1 and 5 minutes, then zipped off at a 45-degree angle to the north and was gone for 30 to 40 seconds, or was gone in 30 to 40 seconds over the hill. This is the second time in 13 years that this individual reported seeing a UFO. The first time was with his parents in Springfield. Nonetheless, the event literally caused the witness to wet his pants, in quotes, leaving him feeling helpless to do anything about the UFO. So little non-military encounter, which is kind of nice every once in a while to talk about. So yeah, I thought that's a good one to tell tonight.
I love it. I love it. I wish more UFO witnesses would report, but with the confusion on who to report to now, getting difficult.
Yeah. And I agree with you. It'd be nice. I find that these stories, I don't know, they just seem much more interesting. And I mean, all due respect to the pilots and all the military people out there that are reporting this, I'm not belittling that or lessening that at all, but it's nice to get those guy next door or person next door sort of stories and hear what they went through, because they're just telling you what they remember. And they're not trying to be scientific about it. Well, most people aren't, I suppose, but they're not trying to be scientific about it. They're not trying to be regimental about it. They're just like, holy crap, you got to hear this story. And I like those.
I want to know those type of stories more so than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you and I need to start a segment on that subject.
Okay.
Experiences.
Yeah,
just
that'd be cool.
on camera and talk with them about what they've gone through.
That would be very, very, I'd love that.
5-6 minutes. 5-6 minutes. That's it.
Jeez,
what happened? What did you see?
Yeah. Wonder if we could find anybody.
I wonder.
I don't know.
Find anybody.
That's a pretty tall ask, my friend. No, that's a great idea. And I'm wondering if everybody, subscribers and everybody that's listening or watching or whatever you're doing, how interested would the fans or the subscribers be, right?
It wouldn't be for this show per se.
Mm-hmm.
It would be for our YouTube channel, that's for sure. Just 5-6 minutes. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, now the wheels are spinning.
Yeah, well, sometimes, you throw a little of Mel WD-40 on there and
yep.
And you start looping up and you get some good thoughts.
No, I think that's good.
I think it would be great, Merle's bugging me, by the way.
Sorry?
Off topic of the UFO report. Merle's bugging me.
Uh-oh. What's Pearl bugging you about? I don't have
He's
my chat
When are we booking the Vegas trip?
on.
He's pumped up to go. He's totally pumped up to go.
Yeah, no doubt.
So for our fans, Merle and I, along with Tim, we're all heading to Vegas. Sweet Robbie G is going to be there. A few other people, Major Lee, Jackie Harmon, and others are all going to be there, hanging out, just having a party. It's not an SOR fan party like the last 3 years. No, this is just a hangout session. And if you want to join us, I think we're doing it at the New York this year. I believe that's where we're going.
And I think
That'll be May 1st to 4th, 2025. So if you want to make it, you come on down and make it happen. We're not doing anything special. We're not going to do any live radio shows or anything, but we're going to have a chance to talk about a lot of weird stuff, man. A lot of weird stuff. And that's what it's all about, is gathering with your peeps to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. And if you show up, you might even get to touch Dave's beard.
Or Tim's beard.
Or
Or Merle's actor of beard. All expenses are being charged to Jeremy Jones in our chat room.
Oh, right on.
He wants to pay for the entire SOR team to go. That's very nice. Very nice. Hey, that's love. That is love.
I can feel it.
Yeah. Tim Mothman in his goatee says everybody who buys him a drink will get a free goatee pull.
It's a tug.
Get a good tug in on Tim. It'll just cost you, a beverage, but that's okay. That works.
It's going to be a good time.
Oh, yeah. Man, I can't wait. There's 5 months of snow left before we get to 5 months of snow. 5 more months of Deer Leader. Who knows? He may shut down the border by then.
Yeah,
we're not
never know.
Rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Probably is the official Spaced Out Radio. Rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god of self. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Stream, LinkedIn, Space Travelers Club, and on X, #SpacedOutRadio.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. All right. What in the hell was with all the politics in the chat room again?
Oh,
Threw me right off, and I couldn't even concentrate on it.
really? I saw the tail.
I didn't know we talked politics in our chat room.
Yeah, we normally don't, do we? Yeah, I thought there was something going on anyway, because
I was when I was caught off guard there when you stopped talking, I was erasing comments.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
I don't have the chat. I didn't have the chat up, so I wasn't paying attention. I was just.
That's all right.
Huh. Not cool.
I'm Vanessa. I'm calling everybody down. Yeah, I use the word woke. This is why I don't do woke, because shit like this happens. I'm not giving you trouble, Vanessa. I'm just saying in general. Ethanol, I know the rules of my own chat room. You are more than welcome to insult dear leader. Jedi, we're not talking that stuff in this chat room. I've told you that many times before. Then you go in other chat rooms and then you say how I'm an asshole in my chat room. I've seen it. Paraphrasing, by the way.
Holy.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Yeah. This room is to get away from politics, to get away from the trans argument, to get away from the racial arguments, the religious arguments, the Palestinians versus Israelis, everything. Like, I don't understand why we're forgetting the rules of the chat room here. This chat room isn't a democracy. This isn't freedom of speech here. This is to allow everybody an opportunity. I don't care what sex you are. I don't care what religion you are, what color you are, or whatever. Take 3 hours off, people, unless it's insulting Trudeau. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely.
You guys want to know what bad is? Come to Canada right now. Come to Canada right now. Sorry, there's certain things that'll set me off, guys. All right. Insulting a guest is one of them. Give yourselves a break for one night, man. Hi, Beth. How are you? See, Deb, I thank you for that super chat, but I'm not going to put something insultive up about another show. No offense. And Vanessa, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at you. Don't think that I'm mad. I'm not mad. If anything, I'm disappointed that there was absolutely barely any videos of Black Friday.
Oh, you just stole it from me, you bugger.
Bastards.
I was going to just say that. I was going to say, so to flip the coin here, did anybody get any good videos? Because I don't think they sent anything today.
No. Hi, Adventures with Beth. How are you?
I can't believe you did that. That was
Sorry,
awesome.
people. You know, you can be pissed off at me all you want, but remember what I said a few weeks ago, Tim? I have.
No fucks to give.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. The field is barren.
See, the one thing about our members of our chat room don't understand is us hosts talk.
Yeah, you guys do.
All of us hosts talk. And we watch our chat rooms and we see everybody bounce and bounce and bounce to other rooms, which is very cool because, you know, our audience is very supportive. But we also know when somebody's cutting us down in another chat room.
I know, right? It's like having a little brother, two little brothers down the hall. They like you can't do anything.
Hey, dead fish. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
to
Happy birthday, fishy dead. Happy birthday to you. And many fucking more.
Yeah.
All right. Modi Mongol. Oh, I get mad. Trust me. Trust me. When Sweet Robbie G starts saying that soccer is a sport over hockey, yeah, that'll set me off every time.
I thought Robbie was in the chat.
He was in the chat for a little bit.
He's
He's probably out eating breakfast for nighttime snacks right now.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Average crypto dude, how you doing? Welcome to SOR chat.
Okay,
which segment? It was the next segment after this where I got to clear the asshole.
Nah. Oh, Friday tomorrow.
Dead fish, that'd be great. Oh man. It is Friday tomorrow.
It is. You were in a rush getting home tonight. Oh yeah, because you were transporting illegally.
Tomorrow I will be.
Oh, okay. I was coming. I'd stopped at the gas station on the way home, so I was jumping back out onto the highway because I hate driving through the 8. I'm like, come on! I'm sitting there, Jesus, what the hell? Cursing, and you come around the corner, and I'm like, high beam, high beam, high beam, high beam. I'm like,
I didn't even see it.
I had my arm out the window. I was flipping you off. I mean, waving high and everything. I was like, damn.
Deb, we're always looking at who the other guests are. We'd be silly if we weren't. How do you think so many guests from this show end up on other shows very quickly after?
Mm-hmm.
You silly goose. Silly goose.
Oh,
it's like I got a message from Cheryl Costa the other day that she was struggling getting on the show to promote her book.
Yeah.
And she comes on us, and all of a sudden she got hit with like 6 requests within 24 hours.
That's awesome.
People listen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got to find the 14-minute mark. So we started on this is the top of the hour, right? Yeah. So that's 06, 16, 14 should be about here.
2-car garage. And they really wondered what we would do with all that spare time, And where did that money go? Where was it squandered? You're talking about billions of dollars over so many years. And computers are actually more effective than we ever imagined they could possibly be. And so when we have our rose-colored glasses on and we think that, America's perfect and the world is okay, no, there's a problem. There's a huge monetary problem. There's a huge control problem. And it's gotten really ugly. People can't afford groceries. We're supposed to be, we make up 13% of the world, but we are the richest, most influential country in the world. But now you have to think who's influencing us. Vladimir Putin really doesn't like our influence. He's shutting down social media and all influence so we can have, the quintessential family instead of what we have here, which is families falling apart and traditional means of life just completely going away over, cabals or government or banana republic teaching us that we're supposed to have this new, different way of life, and all bets are off, and decency is gone, love is gone, relationships are gone, family units are gone. That's the same type of propaganda and social engineering that you're going to see with the CCP in China. That saw Hong Kong wanted to be a democracy, so they released the swine flu and the bird flu, and sent federal dollars into schools, for small children that could only be used to teach alternative sexuality and pronouns. And it brought Hong Kong to its knees. And
Well,
people
a lot of things have been brought down to the knees regarding just the societal norms of this. But is this all part of covering up UFOs?
No, of course not. Of course not. You have these, globalists with their own agenda. So many different agendas, power and money. These people forget about humanity. They want more power. They get bored. What if I give someone, a homeless man, $1 billion? They become an asshole, and
there it is.
One, a homeless man, and an asshole, and asshole, and six asshole, and in 6 months. Sorry about the language, but in 6.
Beautiful. That's all we needed. I guess I didn't miss it.
Nope.
You can say ass, but you can't say asshole.
Yeah, there was a George Carlin bit about that, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah. See, we can technically say it on YouTube, but our because I marked this show as above 18, 18 and up. Timmy, you're not very talkative tonight.
No, I'm actually just going over. I've got this. I'm sitting here, and then it's like, what is this? And it's like, oh, yeah, just get emails from. I'm on the automatic email list now at work. So if something's weird going on there, I get these little pop-ups. And it's like, oh,
That's because you're important.
that's because I'm important. Yeah. So they say. So they say.
Big Jim, we can see your text messages. By the way, tomorrow night, our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. Everybody make sure you cheer on Keith in the chat room because he just announced he got engaged to his new fiance. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that today too. Well, I was talking to him last week, and he was telling me that when she comes up, I propose, and he told me the whole story. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then saw it today. I was like, right on, he did it. Good for them. Good for them.
Average crypto dude. I wish we were talking crypto. A buddy of mine in town here has made 150 grand off crypto in the last month.
Holy.
Yeah, 152,000 to be exact.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was showing it off to me today. I'm like, you son of
a.
If I could ever figure out the crypto app that I have on here,
oh, dear.
I tell you, because you don't have to start with much.
That's what they all say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea how it works or anything. Like you couldn't tell you. Couldn't
I
even
can't
know.
figure out the app. Honestly, I've tried figuring out that app. I even went on Google to try and figure out how the app works.
Mhm.
Cannot transmit it into here.
Weird.
Yeah,
Did you give
because
it
I
to
would totally have
Junior?
tried. What's that?
Did you give it to Dave Jr. and see if he could?
Probably should have.
You're right. Right. That's funny. Yeah, I have no idea. I know what was it? Yeah, I think the doctor dabbles in it as well, doesn't he?
Who?
The doctor. Our
Which
buddy
doctor?
doctor. Your doctor.
Oh,
Chiropractor doctor.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought he dabbled in it as well. I know he was I heard him talking to somebody about it, and it was absolutely Latin to me. I was like, uh yeah, don't get it, don't understand it. So
Yeah.
or what are you thinking of investing in it or trying it or just gonna
Oh, yeah.
try to figure out how to use the app first?
I gotta sit down and try and figure out the app again.
Hmm.
Because literally, I have a I have two apps. I got the crypto app and then I got the Wealth Simple app.
Oh,
The Wealth Simple app, I thought I had it figured out,
right.
and then all of a sudden, shit on my account was like disappearing. But if I
Oh,
open it up again, it like, and I don't know that side to get somebody to say, "Look at my phone. What am I doing wrong?"
yeah. Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Hmm. I have a hard enough time to, yeah, with just sometimes regular apps. And yeah, you're running an iPhone too, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are, yeah. I after every update, it usually takes me about 7 weeks to understand where everything went and now how it works and why they've changed the look of it. I'm like, just leave it alone. Just
Mhm.
leave it.
Yeah.
You know you're
I'm
old. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know you're
Now
old,
I got
Wayne.
a new pointy stick that I can't even use with extra magazines.
Oh, did it? Uh,
Bought the extra magazines just in case.
oh, you did buy them. I thought they were
Yeah.
get the same deal on it as the last thing, or
Oh yeah. He tried to go more on me. I said, I bought the last one for this one. He's like, okay, I'll do that again.
he's so funny.
Yeah, you better.
Maybe Dave forgot.
Oh, Dave didn't forget.
No, nope.
So basically in Canada, the way it is, if your pointy stick looks violent,
Mhm.
if it looks violent, it is now confiscated. It is now illegal in Canada.
Yeah. Yep.
What Secreto. Why do you guys need more money if we're gonna die anyways? Well, number one, I like feeding my family. I like putting a roof over my head. I like having enough cash in the bank so I can afford to pay my daughter's student loans so she doesn't have to worry about it. I like being able to go visit my grandson and see my other daughter. I like going down to see my father. I like to gamble every now and again. Sometimes I want a new pointy stick. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have to pay for my son to play hockey because I want my son to be a man and not a soccer player. Okay. So it all adds up, man.
Yep. Sometimes you feel like a nut.
I'm cranky.
Yeah.
Not because of that comment. I
No,
actually
no.
comment.
That was a weird day today. A lot of people. I
Oh, a
don't
lot
know.
of cranky people around my work today too.
I know it was like even the dudes at like the super, super energetic and fun guys today, like, yeah, it just looked like everybody was dark clouding all day. I was like, holy, and everybody just stay in your corners. Yeah, you could feel it. I don't know. Yeah, I stopped in at town today too. I had to run into town in the middle of the afternoon, and everybody had to. It was a real weird vibe.
Look at this comment by Frostcat. Men can play soccer. Show me one.
Oh, soccer, football.
Oh, God, I hate soccer. Hate it with a passion.
What'd you end up eating last night? You said
My
you were
son
starving.
actually came up to me the other day and he's like, Dad, why do you hate soccer so much? And why can't I play it? I said, son, it's because I love you and I'm a parent who actually cares.
And he was like, "Oh, okay."
I said, see, the parents who allow their sons to play soccer, they really don't like their kids.
He's gonna be walking around school telling everybody that. Oh, do you play soccer? It's because your dad and your mom don't love you.
Exactly. Deb wants money to buy more sex toys. Apparently, she's worn out her gag balls.
Oh my God. Well, at least it's not politics. This is better. I can just see you guys getting a phone call at the house. Hello, Mr. Spaced Out Radio. We need you to come in and have a talk.
According to Jude,
Yeah.
semi-automatic shotguns are probably next.
Oh yeah. I can imagine. Yep.
Oh my God. You know what? The cool part about it for America, before you panic, okay? Number one, you'll be our 11th province, not 51st state.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. We might territory you.
That's right.
You have like 2 seats in the House of Commons. But the good part about it is, when we have our election in October, Trudeau will, or dear leader, I should say, I don't want to mention his name. Dear leader will be hung by his short and curlies, trying to figure out what went wrong. And I still think we're going to an election.
All a 2-month allowance. Come on. What are you doing?
I still think
I do too.
we go to the spring election. God, I hope.
Mm-hmm. No kidding. No kidding. I wonder the next thing is that, I wonder if they'll take my my wood chopping utensils.
Yep. You know, I'm not going to get into the whole. I'm not going to get into the whole pointy stick thing, but I can tell you this: I absolutely feared pointy sticks for the first 49 years of my life. Didn't want anything to do with them. I had fired them before, but I had no intention. And one of the biggest reasons why I decided to actually take my fear and confront my fear of pointy sticks was because I know where my fear comes from. And that comes from having, God bless my mother, but having a paranoid mother, that everything always goes wrong. Okay.
Yep.
And, you know, like the worst advice my mom and dad ever gave me was never get a credit card. Then I realized that this world is run on credit, not cash. think it was 60 years ago. But like my family is a family of pointy stick violence. And my sister was maimed and her friend was killed back in 1984.
Gee, yeah.
And I had always had that stick with me. Right? Always had that in my brain. So I had a natural fear from childhood about pointy sticks. But I don't want my son growing up with my fear for numerous reasons. Right? But I will tell you this because, there are people who will go absolutely haywire. If I open up this conversation. So I'm not going to open it up too much. I'm going to crack the door open a little bit. But I will say this. Coming from a very I hate guns background. Okay. I now understand what all my pro-gun friends were saying, trying to teach me.
Yeah.
And I think that, pointy sticks are very useful tools in the right circumstances.
Absolutely.
Like right now, I know a lot of people who can't afford to go to the grocery store. But that deer or moose or those grouse, they're going to feed them right through winter
Mm-hmm.
and into the summer.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people up here, and I mean, up here, not just in our area, but I've got friends that go up through Prince George and stuff like that. And you're right. It's not necessarily a solely sole substance or whatever. They're not going out and that they're not just sticking to the land and stuff like that. That's not the only thing they do. But you're right. The majority of their proteins and stuff like that comes from harvesting animals, birds and stuff. And these people depend on it, and they hunt, and they need those. As far as I'm concerned, they need obviously the tools to do the job properly and ethically, and they hunt hard. They hunt hard because it is what feeds their family for 5 months out of the year and stuff, and that's cool. I mean, that's what I try to do when we go moose hunting. But I mean, it's also camaraderie. But yeah, that'd be nice to be able to do that.
Are pointy sticks needed for UAP? Well, it all depends if you want to shoot down drones or not. But if you're looking for the UFOs, no, they're not necessary.
Did you see the fake posts on X today with the shot down? I captured a drone. He was called out, debunked like within 2 seconds. It was funny. Heck. Korean drone. And yeah, this is an accident that happened when they were testing a drone. And where did you find these pictures? And then guys are throwing them up on the screen like, yeah, look at you, just Google it. I was like, there was a few like that today. I was like, God, just screw it up for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, our Keith Andrews tomorrow night. Big thank you tonight to Deborah Rooney with a hat trick, Louie with a hat trick, Human Carl, Search and Destroy, Aloha Dave, Stacy, and Richard for the super chats. Our Keith Andrews tomorrow night, everybody. Tim?
Good night, buddy.
Good night, buddy. See you tomorrow, everybody. Good night.
healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.